though.
Right, I need to work.
Because you're a little quiet, but compared to most of us.
I'm moving myself a bit closer. How about now?
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
Just about on level.
You're always good, Luke. Good to us all. Glad you're here.
How does my end sound?
You sound great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can everyone hear the lovely drilling of my neighbor? You picked a perfect time to start.
I thought
Just a little bit.
It's sort of.
Let's just imagine I'm farting constantly during the stream.
Yeah.
Me, you're not?
Perhaps I am.
Well, you are going to be streaming, and I think the volume level seem okay.
Oh.
It's right now.
When we started, it wasn't
Whoops.
to each other.
So, hi everyone.
All right.
Hello.
Here we are on another bright stream. On the last normal one, because next time we're going to talk about Sage, but that's for next time. So, I was...
Surge!
Yeah. Psyched for it?
Oh, absolutely.
Good stuff coming. Cream 64, Yo-Yo's fighting game with Sonic. Lots of Mega Man
Yeah,
stuff.
cream.
What is it, Melting Man?
I was just saying, yay, more Cream 64 stuff. I haven't played it, but I've seen some videos of it, and it just looks adorable.
Oh, there you go. Alrighty then, to make up for the lack of Cream in the last years. Yeah, lots of good fan game and indie stuff going on. Spark Free is released. I hear Freedom Planet 2 is going to be released in a month as well. So plenty of stuff to look forward to. And of course, Sonic Frontiers itself.
Huzzah.
But we didn't talk about this last time, but Sonic Frontiers had that new render, right? With Sonic grinding, with the much more bright graphics and all that. I found it so funny that a lot of people thought it was fan art. Because it was so expressive and energetic that it's like, nah, that's not Sonic Frontiers. A fan made this. It's like Sega themselves had to confirm, like, yeah, it is official.
Yes, it's really funny.
We're just so used to Sonic Frontiers looking so drab and boring and lifeless. But hey, recently we're getting a lot more interesting art to see, so starting to look up for Frontiers finally. Little personality at last.
It's not just Frontiers. Just Sonic in general lately has looked kind of soulless a little bit, especially in official renders. So to see that Frontiers artwork, it was so good looking that everyone thought it was fan made.
Ouch, yeah.
Says a lot with Sega.
And of course, they just seem to have released a new image of Sonic, what appears to be on like a post-apocalyptic Cybertron with a giant metal arm thing.
Yeah, seems you finally get a look to one of the other islands, so that's cool. I did not expect a metally looking one like that. I guess that's a desert planet or something then? We'll see.
Yeah, that image with the whatever that thing is. I remember I joked about it in a few Discord chats, like, oh, it's Sonic versus Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Sonic versus Scorponok.
Yeah, at least as long as it's cool epic stuff, I'm fine with it. If it starts to look like a Sonic versus Batman Post, then we have a problem. Or maybe not, that would be funny, actually.
But yeah, it does look like a big giant hand, like waving up in the sky saying, hello.
Eggman greeting Sonic, my old friend. And the 2D artwork is also kind of cool looking. Because they mentioned that it's supposed to convey like a feeling of mystery. And then it looks kind of bland or kind of bright. Like the 2D art with the spooky graphics, that's the only one that actually kind of looks mysterious. Everything else, it doesn't really convey that idea across. But oh well. Poor Sonic Frontiers. But we'll give it a fair shot when it's out. But so far, I'm not too impressed. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Luke, you had a good week?
Well, the last couple of weeks I've been going back and forth because I'm might be moving out in the future because I've spent the last several months looking for properties. I mean, I found a good property. It's not far from where I live, and I've been going between my estate agent and my mortgage lender and my solicitor and doing all these forms and all that, trying to get my mortgage sorted out. So Yeah, it seems to be going all right. So it's possible that by next year, I might be finally getting my own place.
Oh, let me be the first to congratulate you from being the only one on this team that sounds like an adult. Good job. Keep it up. An actual homeowner.
Way to go!
Sorry? Did I answer?
I said, way to go, Luke.
Yeah.
And then I have to start the magical world of paying bills
Ah,
You're
yes.
already doing that.
and paying off my mortgage.
Yeah.
Thrilling.
It'll be like a quick time event. Press B to sign this form.
And how are you doing, Ewan?
Yeah, been doing fine. Like, bit hot though. So hopefully it'll start to cool down.
Fair enough.
Please.
Yeah, they said there was going to be more rainy and all that this week, but I barely noticed
Yeah.
it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it rained a bit this week.
Yeah, it rained quite a bit. I mean, the first bit of rain we finally got, and yet when it started raining, it was like just big globs of water, just like plop, plop, because almost like it's not raining that long, like it's having to try and remember how it's supposed to rain.
Look at us talking about mortgages, but home ownership and weather. Guess we are an adult now. What shall we talk about next? Going fishing? And you, Melting Man, you had a great week. You went fishing or did anything adult?
Oh no, I've been busy this whole week filling in for a lot of audio at the TV station that I work at. So yeah, very noisy this big busy week. But fortunately, I don't have to work today because usually I work weekends, but not today. So at least I can rest easy for a little while. But on the plus side, I was able to get finish up a new episode of my Archie Sonic character files series, where I finally get to talk about Clove and Cassia. I brought them up a few times in the stream, so now I get to talk about their history and their tragic life in the Archie Sonic comics.
Alright, that's cool. Maybe you can send in the link to the people who want to see that. Alright,
Yeah.
Shall we start with Fleetway and Sonic X, or does anyone else have something to share? Sala, Captain.
No, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Then just get to the point, I guess. What shall we do first, Sonic X or Fleetway?
Maybe Sonic X?
Very well. Episode 42, the introduction of Emerald, even though the episode isn't really about that. So, who wants to do a synopsis? Luke?
I'd rather do episode 43.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anyone else?
Alright, so, I guess I'll take it. So yeah, this episode starts off with Bo-kun waking up Emerald. He's just here now.
Yeah.
So the four kids mistranslated his name as ML because, I mean, that is a valid way to read his name in Japanese. Anywho, so Amy shows up and she is very upset that Sonic has apparently not shown up for her date, and she bought new shoes for it and everything. And then Sam shows up and reveals he also had kind of a date with Sonic. And so Sam and Amy decide to date each other, which is weird for several reasons. And Sam, of course, makes a joke about speed dating.
Of course.
And off they go. They're going off on an adventure together. They get lost because Sam doesn't care where the hell he's going. And they find a just random shop on the side of the highway. And as soon as Amy mentions Sonic, shopkeeper's very surprised that she knows him. Because, talking alien pink hedgehog you see every day.
But blue hedgehogs, they're rare, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he gives her, because Sonic saved his grandson from a runaway horse. He is thankful, so he gives Amy a map and some candy. And then off they go again to the beach. All the while, Sonic is fighting Bo-kun in a tank that is powered by Emerald or something. Emerald is inside of it. And, I love the part where Sonic just, casually bends the barrel of the tank. No big deal. And I do like that he even mentions that, like, this whole confrontation is making him late for his date with Amy. So he does care.
Oh.
And then it ends with there's a giant robot train heading towards the prison that Eggman's locked up at, and Sam and Amy team up to destroy it. And Amy finds a new respect for going at Sonic speed. And then they go to the beach as sunset shows up, and then Sonic arrives and has a race with Sam and leaves Amy alone.
Trapped and
That's
stranded
rough.
on the other side of the country with no way home. How nice.
Yep.
And then Cream finds Emerald. Dun dun dun. Cliffhanger.
To
Oh,
be
yeah.
continued.
Yeah, that was certainly an episode, boy.
Yeah.
Gee, where to start? Yeah, I guess we just start with Emerald. I absolutely love how this supposed to be like just a dramatic introduction of him, but they just put no effort into it at all. He's just there. He's in that randomly a battery of a tank, and then Cream finds him at the end of the episode, and then in the next episode you just see him drinking tea with the rest. I was laughing out loud how just quickly they go through it. Like, okay, he's best friends with everyone now, I guess. He's just hanging out.
Not even a single person. Not even a single person questions the new robot in their house.
Not a single line of introduction. Not nothing. Absolutely nothing. They just find him. It's like, okay, you're our best friend now, and he just stands there looking menacing and cold to everyone. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Though I was surprised to see that when Bokun finds Emerald, it's actually in the remains of Robotnik's old fortress from like the first couple of episodes. That was kind of interesting to see that again.
Yeah, so I have to assume that eventually they're gonna explain where he comes from, but yeah. For now he's completely random, and I kind of love it. It's terribly written, but in a way that's hilarious. But yeah, it's not technically what the episode is about. But yeah, talk about Emerald. I was also kind of amused. But at the start, you see him like stuck on wires, and then he just walks off, and those wires break. I thought it would be funny if he then immediately crashes down, that he actually needed those wires to stay powered up. He immediately kills himself accidentally by breaking those wires.
Yeah,
That's my
it's like, screw that. I got no strings on me. Damn.
But that's my stupid sense of humor, yeah. Ewan, what did you think of this episode?
He's gone to dinner.
Yeah, he just left for dinner.
Did he leave for dinner? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whoops. Bad timing. Luke, what do you think of this episode?
I thought it's a very nice Amy-centered episode as she starts questioning about like her attraction to Sonic, and she starts thinking about why Sonic hasn't time for her, and it makes she starts to understand certain things. I thought that's quite interesting, really.
Yeah, they're going way deeper than usual.
Yeah.
Melting Man, what's your opinion?
Yeah, this was a interesting episode. It's definitely one of those like episodes with like character team ups you never get to you never thought would happen. So in this case, it's Amy going out with Sam just to chill out because she's still fumed at Sonic because she thinks that Sonic stood him up on the date. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely one of those episodes that has a lot of scenes that were removed in the English dub.
All right. To me, this episode has a lot of puzzle pieces I absolutely love, but it's very awkwardly put together. But there's a ton of individual scenes I love. Of course, we have to bring up the start where Amy immediately threatened to beat up Chris. It was a very interesting choice.
Yeah, I think that only happens in the Japanese version. I think that was just so hilarious. Like, oh, Amy grabs him into a headlock and threatens, "Oh, Sonic, you don't come in here, I'll hurt Chris."
I have to give Sonic X a little credit. I remember that Amy was super flanderized and extremely psychopathic all the time, but that wasn't as bad as I remembered up until this episode. In this episode, she goes off the rails immediately. Yeah, so Amy's completely psychopathic at the beginning, with poor Cream desperately trying to stop her from murdering Chris.
And I just love how Amy just wants to go to the beach, but Sam just takes her to just various places, including Wales, apparently.
Yeah, those
Apparently
look like whales with all the sheep. In the Japanese version, he says something like, "It doesn't matter what the destination is as long as you're driving." Which, considering he's supposed to be a police officer, that's a very interesting philosophy. Makes me wonder how often he manages to get to the place of crime.
He pretty much has the navigational sense as Zorro from One Piece.
Pretty much, yeah. So poor Amy has to get a map eventually, which is the reason why they go to that store. But yeah, that's for later. Anyway, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Sam, but he was absolutely awesome in this episode because he's like constantly like cheerful and happy about it, especially in very like bad moments. Like Amy's just being sad about something, and that was in the store, I think. Like Amy's all like flustered about Sonic, and then Sam is just like, "Oh, he stood her up," and then Amy immediately beats him up.
Yeah, that was funny.
I guess absolutely no grace or anything. Yeah, I love their team up. He's like an exaggerated version of Sonic. Like if Sonic would actually talk about his feelings, he would pretty much be Sam. So he's kind of like a very educational character for Amy to hang around with. Right?
Yeah, because whilst Amy was just pouring her heart out about Sonic, all Sam could think about is his car.
Pretty much, yeah. To be fair, Amy was a bit of a bitch, especially at the start. Like constantly yelling at him or talking about her ex-boyfriend. Like, don't do that on the date. But yeah, so indeed, it's kind of creepy and weird for humans and Amy to go on a date. Although I don't think it was meant to be romantic necessarily. It's clearly that Amy just wants revenge on Sonic, and Sam just wants to boast about his car. So,
and this is why Sam gets no bitches.
There you go. So even though it looks awkward, I guess it's better not to think too deeply about weird connections that way. I don't think Sam or Amy have any romantic relation with each other. Although I'm pretty sure there's fanfics and fan art out there to prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
Everyone's free to ship whatever they want. I don't care. As long as it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so like the whole bit with Amy and Sam, like, oh, gotta get a map, and then they hear like the old guy like, oh, you know Sonic, oh, he saved my son once, and then like gives her the map and some candy, and weirdly enough, the whole bit with the candy is like pretty much ignored in the English dub, but in the Japanese version, there's this whole scene where it's kind of more like a redone bit of the whole like, oh, you know, candy, you have the taste or something. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of thought I like that scene. Just add a little more depth to the characters.
Was that a callback to Mr. Stewart's speech? Well, it doesn't really make sense because Amy never heard that speech. But yeah, I guess that's kind of neat thematic.
I did also like the scene where they had to take on an evil train of doom, and so Sam turns his car Inspector Gadget style. It's like this cool jet powered ship car thing, and they just go around and Amy just smashes it with her hammer.
That was really an awesome moment, which I did not expect. Because it's so rare for especially Sam or Amy to really get a climactic moment, and I did not expect that. But yeah, it was very much appreciated, especially the Japanese version where you get the theme song playing to make it even extra epic.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off in the Japanese version. It's like, oh, they play the theme song to the show, and like unlike in the English dub where it's just kind of that orchestral music, generic theme.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I liked in that scene when like they need to catch up to the train, even though they are definitely going faster than it. And Sam says, "I know a shortcut," and then he goes off the road for no reason. And like the road is definitely going in a straight line, and like there is no shortcut in this scenario, but somehow it works. So
cartoon logic, yeah.
Yeah, I guess his car just works faster on rough roads rather than regular roads.
Yeah, logically. Yeah, that made me laugh too, yeah. I was kind of waiting for an establishing shot, like, how does this shortcut work? But no.
Nope, he's somehow faster driving on dirt roads. Like, alright, now we're charging after it. Whee!
I suppose like in Mario Kart, where you try to go off-road to make a shortcut.
Yeah, in Mario, you have actual, like, the track has, like, corners and more of a structure. Here it was just a straight line. It was just a road straight to the city.
Yeah, same with like CTR with those like crazy shortcuts. They could like skip over chunks of them if you're that skilled.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it wasn't Chocolate Mountain a very popular Mario Kart track for that? Because you had like a very peculiar shortcut where you can jump over a hill or something. But, yeah, but that's for
yeah, I know. I'm a little more familiar with Papu's Pyramid track from CTR, where there's like this section where you go like up this ramp and then make a turn around and go down. But there's like this tricky jump you can do that you can skip the whole turning bit and just get to the other side.
Oh yeah, no, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But going a bit off topic. We also forgot to mention this introduces a storyline for the next episode, which I absolutely love. That people are now have an obsession with Sonic and are all running. But what I especially love is that even Sonic sleeping on the roof somehow also becomes part of the whole culture. So it isn't that Sonic inspires us to run, but even just being an asshole or sleeping on the rooftop also becomes part of it. Although that was more next episode, I think. But
Yeah, that's more of the next episode. Here it's just more of, oh, there's a whole jogging craze and people are doing it because they love Sonic and that kind of thing.
yeah, it starts. But yeah, yet again, I have to say, why is it always only Sonic that people call attention to? And I mean, like I think someone of you already said in the store when Amy walks in, "Hey, do you know Sonic by any chance?" Like, how many aliens are there? Yeah, like the fact that Amy walks in, nobody cares, no one beats an eye. But Sonic, that's everyone's obsessed with him. Even though from the human's perspective, Sonic shouldn't be more peculiar than any others. So,
I guess people just get really turned on by the color blue.
I guess so.
Which would definitely explain the Sonic worship when Tails was taking down Eggman's armada
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
from season 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, because Tails Tails and Amy and Chris are much more on the forefront of where the humans can see them during the adventures of Sonic. He's usually only showing up in the last 5 seconds or so. Oh well, guess we shouldn't be questioning it.
And there's another scene I want to point out. There's a brief scene where Eggman, Deco, and Boko are in prison eating prison slop. I mean, Eggman eating it is fine, but I wondered how did Deco and Boko eat it because they got no mouths and also
Yeah.
they're robots.
Yeah, like how the hell does that work?
Good question. Yeah.
And when the prison warden leaves out the buckets, I was looking at it thinking, that's not a food bucket. That's what you were saying?
Yeah, so, Deco, it was Deco, mentions that, he can't wait to go back to Eggman's base and have some motor oil, so maybe the robots are using it as lubricant?
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, Deco has quite the head there for,
That is,
Well, with the stories you hear about prison food, I wouldn't be surprised if they use it. You can use it as lubricant.
To be fair, maybe Eggman gave him like special eating options so they could test out if food was poisoned or not. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, they are his personal assistants, so maybe he's like, maybe it's poisoned or spoiled. You test it first. So he did.
that's a fair point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, Emerald's. Yeah, we already talked about him. How fun! How out of place he constantly looked. I was kind of surprised they kept this in 4K. It's like the shot where the tank guzzle just shoves straight in Sonic's face.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Even with the extra special sound effect with it, like clunk. Makes it even funny. I love that shot.
Well, I guess they were able to get away with it because, like, Bokun's tank doesn't really shoot actual ammo, just like random exploding TVs.
I mean, that's the thing. Like a pistol is too scary for kids, but a giant bazooka or a tank, that's fine. They're less dangerous, I guess. Yeah. What else to say? It's such a chaos episode.
I think there was one weird difference that I noticed with the versions. Like the whole scene with like Deku and Boko like eating the extra slop, and then they start complaining like, "Oh, I can't bear to deal with this slop." It's like, okay, why did you beg for seconds then? But it seems like, it seems like in the Japanese dub, they seem like very content with like being in jail. It's like, oh, this space not so bad, yeah, but we still gotta help Robotnik.
I was kind of expecting them to insult Eggman like that. Oh, it's much more much more comfortable here than in our base. But
yeah.
They didn't say that. I guess they would know Eggman would beat them up. I also like the part where Sonic like knocked out the escape. I can't remember his name, Deacon or something. Like he threw the gear at his head. Kind of remind me of Sonic CD. I wonder if that was a reference to it. Unfortunately, it didn't explode like Eggman did in Sonic CD.
Oh yeah, when Sonic throws that chunk of debris at Bokun and knocks him out.
That's kind of neat. Like this. That's kind of a running theme in these episodes this time. Right? Usually the anime villain has like the perfect escape. Now they're constantly like immediately beaten up and crash down, even though they still succeed to escape anyway. Happened in the last episode as well. Oh well. But yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
it's
neat episode. Although kind of weird, mean-spirited ending with Amy just being left alone in the end.
Yeah, that was really mean-spirited. Like, old Sonic shows up, oh, Sonic, you remember my date? And then Sonic's like, screw you, bitch, I'm gonna race Sam, whee! And then they just abandon her.
It's kind of weird because if that ending happened right after the first half, it would have worked. Because in the first half of the episode, Amy's like really a bitch, like threatening violence on Chris and constantly yelling at Sam. So then she would have deserved that. But in the full episode, she actually had her character development, and they had that epic climax and all that. So you feel like, okay, she earned a better ending now. But no, she still gets her karmic, you get punished for your bad behavior ending. Oh, well.
Poor
and she
Amy.
declares to be a lesbian. I hate men.
Yeah.
All men are evil.
Oh, yeah, in the Japanese version. In the English sub, it's just her saying the whole, like, oh, this is the worst day ever line.
Fair enough. I didn't watch the American version this time.
Nah, we gave up watching the American version.
Ewan, you're back. Welcome. What do you think of this
Hey.
episode?
Well, kind of found it enjoyable, but obviously the highlight was obviously just reading the sub saying, "I really hate men."
And 1,000 lesbian ships were born.
Well, I guess the Topaz has to fight over Rouge now.
Yep. Oh, well. Guess
She
we
could be
move-
hook up with Ella.
Oh, yeah, sure. Ella's still there. She can cook together.
Yeah.
How romantic.
Then,
Probably
of course, well, now Scarlett Garcia, she needs some love.
Oh, that's true. Our news reporter. Yeah. But right, yeah, and then the episode ends with Cream randomly finding Emerald. Did we ever find out why Emerald's randomly in the garden of Chris? I don't think so, do we? Like he just escapes
Nope.
a tank and then he's just randomly at Chris' home.
Yeah, I don't know. I can only assume that when the tank exploded, Emerald just went like flying and then crashed into the Thorndyke's house, and that's it. But yeah, we never really see anything happen to him.
That's just the funniest thing. No, or maybe the human's behavior is the funniest thing. But yeah, just the way how Emerald just kind of stumbles into the plot is just hilarious to me. He's just there. He just randomly shows up at Chris. The next episode, he's just drinking tea with all of them.
Yeah, I'm the new plot point now.
Oh well. I mean, it kind of reminds you of the Chaotix. They also just had this dramatic entrance, and then they immediately don't do anything with them anymore.
Yeah, they just disappear after that for a while.
Just get one episode where they just break the fourth wall and goof around, and you still barely know anything about them, and then they're gone again. Like, okay, that was pointless. Oh well. Guess we move on to the next episode.
All right.
Luke, you wanted to do this one?
Okay, let's see how I can do it. Remember it. Okay. A new craze is sweeping the nation where everyone decides to emulate Sonic, running around, having small Sonic-themed fetes where everyone decided to style their hair and selling Sonic-themed merchandise. People decide to sleep on rooftops, which is pretty dangerous. And everyone decided to be really lazy, including employees skipping work. Including...
that's one of Sonic's legacies, being lazy. But okay, so I'm interrupting you.
And apparently the employees of Chris's father, who works for a huge electronics firm, decide to drop out, so leaving with a lot of shoddily made products. So he received a lot of complaints, more than Amazon probably. So all the products decide to go to Eggman, he's been tasked to repair them. So we get to see his technology skills at work, his technologically building skills at work. But apparently he was secretly implanting microchips to make all the appliances sentient, so that when they're inside of someone's house, they apply all the chips to all the other appliances, making them come to life and attack people. Also, there's a subplot of Chris being really ill, which makes Chris's parents freak out. So they decide to skip their duties of being a CEO and an actress to go all the way back to Chris's house. And Chuck calls him out of it, thinking, "What are you doing? We're looking after him. What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "No. So we just want to look after our boy. They're hardly over here." So all the appliances start to attack everyone. Sonic managed to attack a few appliances. this huge thing made of various appliances start to attack Chris, but it was apparently taken out by Emerald, who has learned Sonic Spin Dash. So they go outside and find out all the appliances have gone haywire, like a big sale at Curry's, and Knuckles started to attack them, but it turns out that water can short-circuit all the appliances. But they know about that, so they cut off the water supply, so the firefighters don't have enough water. So the Thorndikes decide to go on a big family trip to the dam. Chris said, "Can I come along? I want to go to war." And Chris's mum said, "Okay, then, just be careful." And so decide to go along. Meanwhile, Bocon managed to bust Eggman and the robots out of prison. So, and then the Thorndikes managed to get the dam open, leaving Sonic and Knuckles to play at firefighters, taking out all the appliances. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much it. And then they say, "Oh, well, I guess all the appliances in the city are broken. Oh, I sure hope hospitals don't need them or anything." And then they all laugh.
Yeah, they all yuck it up.
People don't have fridges anymore. All the food is gonna spoil. Hilarious. Man, this episode was crazy. I love it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what inspired me to do the thumbnail for this video. It's like, oh, it's about evil appliances. Okay, let's have Sonic and his friends go up against like evil versions of the cast from Brave Little Toaster. So the idea was just too funny.
Yeah, and it also kind of reminds me of this one episode we have in the UK of this show we have in the UK called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is a parody of old Stephen King dramas serials set in this haunted hospital, which is supposed to look really terrible. Then there's an episode where they all got attacked by appliances, which are all dangling on strings.
Nice. Oof, where to start with this one? So much.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens in this episode.
Okay, so we start off with getting reminded that yes, the Flickies and Chaotix are still there. Well, the Chaotix never show up, but we'll kind of see their house, I guess.
Yeah, like the animals are still there, and all their houses are like still on top of other people's houses.
They haven't removed them yet. No. But I'm still confused why there's this drama that they have to leave, because everyone looks very peaceful with them anyway. But yeah, I guess we still. Have
I know that whole theme's not really brought up in this episode.
No.
At least in the Japanese version. Yeah, it's largely ignored in the US dub.
Oh well. And yeah, so like you said before, like I absolutely love the fact that everyone becomes like Sonic obsessed, including his bad behavior. So everyone starts sleeping and being lazy and doing very sloppy work. So I guess if that's all part of Sonic's appeal, then oof, I love it. Like, usually he's always portrayed as being perfect and just rude at most. So I kind of love that they actually like explore more of his bad attitude here. So we get more to. It's kind of funny because Adventure Sonic and Sonic X is always considered the most generic one, because he isn't as edgy and intense as the others, or at least being more rude in everyone's face. He's more polite and nice and friendly and just Hero Man. And yet, this is the only series where they really like explore his bad behavior and how he affects others. I mean, last time with Amy and Sam being stood up by him, and now with how badly he inspires everyone to become lazy assholes. So
well, well, at least it's Sonic X Sonic and not Sonic Boom Sonic. Otherwise, we'd all be doomed.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh well. I love that. I also love how everyone's bringing bad news very positively all the time. Like the secretary lady at Chris, his father, and just doing this whole spiel. Oh, none of your factory workers come, and your products are terrible now. And she just says it with a big smile, and his father is just kind of nodding, like, yep, that's me. Yep, my products are shit. Yep. And only like, that's why you have complaints. Hooray! And only then he goes, ah. Such a
I also love that when they heard that their son is ill, decide to drop everything and go home.
Yeah. Like, oh, my son is sick. Yeah, son is sick. Quick to the chopper. And then he picks up Chris's mom wearing quite the outfit with the leather jacket for whatever movie set is. And yeah, that's another weird thing. Like when she like, oh, Chris is sick, and then she jumps onto the helicopter. And then the director reacts to this. It's like in the Japanese version, she sees her jumps like, oh, that's fantastic.
Melting Man, you're gone?
In the English stuff, they do it weirdly, where instead of just like, hey, Huh? Hello?
Yeah,
You cut out for a bit there.
Alright.
But yeah, the
Right,
movie
so-
director in the Japanese version is complimenting her stunt, while in the American version he's just like, "Hey, you're leaving the movie set." Yeah, it's kind of weird
Yeah,
how they
he's like-
removed the joke there. But,
Yeah, that
What-
was
what he
weird.
What he actually said in the American dub was, "Hey, what about me?"
Yeah, and he's just saying it with that big smile, like, "Oh, what about me? I want to join."
I want to go to Chris and see how sick he is. I could point and laugh at that
Yeah,
kid.
that'll be the start of our next film, Sick Kid in Bed, the movie.
I also just wanted to go back to the previous topic real quick. The Nelson Thorndike leaving his job real quick. It's kind of funny to consider that he's just like, oh shit, this is a lot of paperwork. Oh, but my son is sick. I have to go home now. Someone else do this.
I also love how he says, "Oh, the person in charge has to take care of the complaints, has to do it with compassion," and then he tells his secretary to do it, even though she's all happy about the complaints. It's like, I don't think she's the one with compassion, dude. Wrong person there. But yeah, it's true. Like his priorities all wrong. What shocked me the most about this episode is that they actually call him out on it, because usually just like, oh, it's just an anime goofy character. But then later Chuck gets pissed off at him and actually rips into him and then being terrible parents. Like usually you just leave Chris alone and you like neglect him all the time, and then when he's sick you're kind of overcorrecting in the other direction. Like I did not expect him to actually like go straight into that. And Chuck out of all people.
Honestly, I feel like Chuck is the one in the wrong here, because like he's at least in the English dub, because I didn't watch the Japanese. I will do that in season 3. But
Of course.
Chuck is complaining that like, oh no, Nelson is leaving his job because his family member is sick. What about the money he's supposed to be making? That seems very like selfish and heartless a little bit.
Did he
Yeah.
actually mention money there? I didn't watch the American version, so.
Yeah, he did actually. He said like, if it was me, I wouldn't be able to afford to take a day off.
Oh, right, yeah. Because, yeah, in Japanese, they
Yeah.
also mentioned the job, but more in terms of responsibilities, because all these complaints going in, all the appliances going bad. Like, this is a bad moment to leave your job, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think in both versions it plays out the same. It's just slightly worded differently.
Fair enough. But, yeah, they both kind of have a point and not a point, so, but hey, that's family fights, I guess.
Hmm.
Also, I have to mention that Vanilla at one point
I
says...
did like to see. Right?
Vanilla at one point says, "You're very kind, Cream." I have to mention that because I think that's the first and only sentence he said in 6 episodes now. But yeah, Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, she had a few other lines before, but yeah, this is the only line she has in the entire episode.
3 episodes you watched this time. But yeah, Luke, go ahead.
All right, Luke.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, I like the episode where Robotnik is like manufacturing or repairing all the electrical appliances, where we have to get to see his electrical skills at play, because we hardly ever see him like build his robots or anything, or like maybe get his robots to build them for him. But shows off how skilled he is at electricals.
Absolutely,
And also-
I love that scene.
And also, it was one of my favourite parody dubs from Moogie Mikey, back when he used to do Sonic X parody dubs. And I remember, like, in that same one, apparently he was in prison because he exposed himself to a policeman.
Ooh,
Oh.
Wouldn't be surprised he would do that. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like him being Mr. Tinkerer, but then in the Sonic X universe.
Yeah, that was interesting seeing like Robotnik being all stressed and working like frantically and fixing the appliances. And I was like, oh, it's all Sonic's fault that I have to deal with this kind of crap. And funny enough, I was kind of expecting the Japanese version to be like very meta. It's like, oh, it's Sonic's fault. He's the main star of the show, blah, blah, blah. But no, surprisingly, they play that scene straight in both versions.
That's a good point. That I noticed that too. Like, and it's in all 3 episodes. Like every single time I wait and go, oh, here come the stupid 4th wall jokes. But the Japanese version didn't make any 4th wall jokes anymore. I wonder if they completely drop it now. I much prefer it because Eggman is already funny enough. I don't. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I think like the 4th wall jokes come back, but like much later. I can't remember when they come back. Memory's a bit hazy with that kind of stuff with the Japanese version.
Oh,
The English stuff, yeah, it's all straight.
So I much prefer it now because now he has much more logical reasons why he's doing his thing. And it still works. It's still funny. It makes him much smarter. Like I always hated that fourth wall. Like, oh, I'm the main character of this show. Like I don't get it.
I actually have a few things I want to say about the scene. So for one thing, like I love Eggman's enthusiasm. He's just like angrily fixing anything that they put in front of him, even if when like Poco like leans against the table for a second, Eggman just takes him apart, puts him back together. Doesn't even notice. He's just that good at repairing things. He doesn't even have to look at what he's doing. But also, I thought like when he brought up the fact that like it's all Sonic's fault, I thought he was going to take pleasure in that. Like, oh, I get to clean up Sonic's mess for once. And like people will love me for that or something. But no, he's just angry, but he is using it to his advantage. Also, are the guards just fucking stupid? Leaving Eggman with all of these machines?
Yeah. Well, apparently he is.
I think he's gonna do. He's doing his spiels like, "Oh, I'm a good guy now. I'll repair these machines for you in good faith."
Yeah, I think what's implied that because of the whole like, oh, you know, everyone's trying to be like Sonic, being all like running and lazy, then I guess like Robotnik is the only worker that's able to do an honest living of anything.
And all the guards are just sleeping on the roof.
Yeah, they're all sleeping on the roof.
Imagine sleeping on the top of his lair.
Yeah. They're running through the jail cells like, wee!
I love that.
Running about the jail quad.
It's so funny if the whole world is destroyed not by Eggman but just by Sonic because he's such a bad example for everyone.
He has a really bad influence. Oh god. Oh, but speaking of meta humor, though, there's something kind of funny I noticed about the scenario, in that Eggman is doing prison labor, which is, for all intents and purposes, slavery.
Sure.
And that's funny because the word robot comes from Robotnik, which means slave in Polish.
Ah.
Huh. I thought it was worker.
Yeah, double.
Kind of.
Double meaning.
Yeah.
Worker, slave, what's the difference?
Yeah, so, yeah, it kind of comes full circle. Robotnik is now Robotnik.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say, I love this aesthetic of these fridges with broken televisions on them. I don't know why, but it reminds me of games like Shamu or Mega Man Legends. It's such a like Asian aesthetic, these little techno stores with all the stuff stacked up like that. Random statement. I just kind of.
Yeah, I just noticed there's quite a bit of detail with those broken appliances in the background. Yeah.
Sure.
All I can see is faces.
Faces. Oh, yeah, you can kind of see faces in them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the rejects from the Brave Little Toaster.
Yeah.
They will get their revenge.
Well, that's better for them than the cars, anyway.
Speaking of Eggman, Deco, and Boko in prison, there's a stupid little scene that I freaking love. It's like they're all sleeping in their prison beds, and a guard walks past, and then they quickly get out. And I'm like, oh, they're plotting something, but no, they're just playing a card game.
Yeah, it's weird. Like
the cards for some reason.
Yeah, it's not like actual poker cards or anything. It's just cards with random animal faces on it. It's like, what kind of game are you playing?
And it like spikes.
Like, it reminds me of that bit from like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where all like the Meatwad clones are like trying to play Texas Hold'em, but they're using like random flashcards as the cards.
Yeah, agreed. I love that. But this is stuff I much prefer to see, like Eggman and the robots in weird contexts. Like that's the sort of jokes I love. Yeah. Yeah. One statement I have to say: the first time when Emerald attacks the robot, I thought for a moment it was actually Tails, since it was like an orange spinball.
Yeah, I thought it was Tails
wow,
as well.
Tails actually does something for once, and then now it's just Emerald. Yeah, you thought so too, Luke.
Yeah, but of course. Maybe Chris is somewhat colorblind, because in fact, like, you know, Sonic is usually blue, not, you know, yellow.
Well, I mean, everyone in Station Square is colorblind if they thought Shadow was Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic's just the only one who can do spin dash, I guess.
I think there was an episode where they thought Knuckles was Sonic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one with Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess everyone is colorblind.
Yeah, like I didn't really see it like that. I kind of already knew mostly because like before that happened, we saw Emerald demonstrate his whole copy abilities. Like, oh, he copied Sonic Spin Dash, and now he does it.
Yeah, kind of neat. Also, I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed that their little mixer they want to make cake off is strong enough to break a hole into a kitchen closet. So that's
Oh yeah,
powerful
that mixer
material.
goes. Yeah, that mixer goes right through the freaking refrigerator.
Yeah, I've got to ask you, what are those called? The closets in the kitchen? I don't know what the name for that is. I need your help,
Cupboards?
English speakers. What?
Cupboards?
Cupboards. Oh, that's the name. Okay.
Yeah, we usually just call them cupboards. Yeah.
Okay.
Cupboard or pantry.
Pantry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
pantry. Yeah, that's
pantries.
another one.
Okay. Thank you very much.
A pantry is something you walk into. A cupboard is something that you don't walk into. It's like shelves with doors.
I see. So
Yeah.
one you're supposed to walk into, and the other one you just hurt your face when you walk into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because pantries are just like in mini closets in a way, just storing like food and stuff like that.
Little storage rooms. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption. But English is not my first language, so I'm just kind of struggling with that.
Mm.
Yeah, what I like about this episode is that all the characters get something to do. Amy gets to beat up a couple appliances. Emerald gets his little moment. The humans get their moment. The only one who doesn't get a moment is Tails. Poor
Yeah.
Tails. Well,
Although Bo-kun gets a bit of a moment, which that's another bad thing about the whole jail cell. Like, so in the end of the last one, like Bo-kun ends up getting captured and put in the same prison cell with Robotnik and the others.
we didn't
But
bring
in
it up.
this
That was so
episode-
confusing because he was never arrested.
Yeah, so in this episode, Bo-kun somehow got out of jail and broke Robotnik out with the egg capsule. So it really shows that the police just suck at their job if they let Bo-kun do that and let Robotnik fix all the appliances.
Oh, another thing I want to point out is that when the Thorndikes opened up the dam, I thought they're going to go and flood the town again.
Flood all those bastards!
But yeah, we can see the robots go outside during the jail cell, so I guess that's where the robot managed to fly away. But yeah, that would be funny if they flooded it again.
Yeah, like, well, since Mr. Thorndike's there, like, maybe that was his real motive, like, just flooding all the people that complained with all those complaints. Well,
Perfect chaos.
Like, I can imagine like somebody like a resident finally like cleaning up his house since the flooding of Station Square, and if finally it's all perfect, and he sees a huge wave coming towards him, says, "Oh, not again!"
Tails and Knuckles. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of learning new English words, this episode actually introduced me to a word I wasn't aware of, which is sluice,
What?
which is
Oh yeah.
a sliding gate or other device for controlling the flow of water.
Oh, okay, cool.
Ah.
Yeah, they actually used the word quite a few times. I'd never heard that before, so I had to look it up.
Sluice. I wonder if that's English version of the Dutch sluice. Huh. Must be.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't used that word much. I thought they were just normally calling. Well, I know it's usually referred to as like the dam or whatnot. But yeah, never heard that word be used for the door.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, valve is what the Japanese subtitle of the American subtitle.
Oh yeah, valve. Yeah,
Yeah.
not the elder valve.
But hey, 4Kids taught you a new word. How good.
Apparently, the word comes from Old French,
Ah, you darn
from
French.
excluse.
Oh, okay. Not Dutch. You're never important. Also, I noticed in the Japanese version, Robotnik kept talking about actually killing Sonic, which surprised me that it goes that far. I mean, of course, the 4Kids version removed that, but he's like full blown. You should go, give up, and go to the afterlife.
I'm going to not alive, Sonic.
You'll be buried under a mountain of electrical appliances and die. Well, that's straightforward.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So far, it seems like in season 2, or at least in the Japanese version, Robotnik's just really all hell bent on like, all right, enough of this game. I'm gonna kill Sonic once and for all.
Guess closer to Sonic Adventure, I guess. He's just really tired of it. But yeah, that kind of surprised me because usually they're kind of wishy-washy about how far Robotnik goes. But yeah, here they straight up go and like, yeah, he wants Sonic dead. So no more full jokes. Straight up, I want to kill Sonic. Kind of funny because they're very lighthearted episodes, but Robotnik's pretty intense.
Yeah, season 1 was kind of like weird. They were kind of awkward with how handling the themes, and then season 2, like, okay, let's just go with the dark themes.
Yeah, we already did Sonic Adventure, so no way back now. Let's see, what else? Because this episode was amazing. Is there anything else I wanted to say?
Well, I was surprised to see Knuckles there. That has kind of surprised me.
Yeah, kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
showed up.
He just kind of showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it was just like I blinked and suddenly there he was. Like, where did he come from?
I can only assume some random appliance was like somehow far away that got infected with the microchip and started pestering Knuckles. And it's like, oh, that must be Robotnik's doing. Whee! And then goes off to fight them.
It's kind of
I suppose it's like reading a Superman or other DC comic and suddenly Batman turns up.
Oh yeah. Suddenly superhero.
Yeah, even though Knuckles is supposed to be traveling the whole world, or staying at the Master Emerald at least. But then again, the Master Emerald was kind of close to Station Square, wasn't it?
Yeah, like Mystic Ruins is sort of close to Station Square.
So
Yeah.
I guess that's why how fast he got back to the city. Oh well. But yeah, they just really wanted to give every character a little moment. And I noticed that with all episodes this week we watched. So I guess a lot of people complain about the first season just being Sonic only all the time. So yeah, I kind of like it. I remember as a kid the show being constantly like all characters are useless and only Sonic kills all the enemies at the end. But these 3 episodes yet again proved me wrong. So this show is really a lot more like dynamic and diverse than I remember it being. So there you go.
Yeah.
Almost all characters got a moment of coolness in this one.
Hey.
Hooray!
Huzzah!
And of course, Cream gets a lot more screen time, but only because Emerald is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed. Like in the Japanese version, they refer to him as Emerald, and in the English dub, I think they only call him ML for some reason.
Yeah, you already mentioned it. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I was the one who mentioned that.
Oh,
Oh, I must have missed that.
It's because it's a totally valid way to read his name in Japanese.
fair enough.
Huh.
They had a similar issue with the character Enaru in One Piece, where they sometimes call him NL. So,
Okay.
same name, one letter off.
Yeah, because I think the Japanese culture doesn't do L's or something. I can't remember what the reason for that was.
L's and R's are pretty much interchangeable in Japanese.
that's it.
There is no proper like L sound, so they use R's in place of L's.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to come back to that in the next episode. But yeah, anything else you want to say about this episode?
Well, just saying it won't be the only time that Sonic would have to face against evil electronic appliances.
Well, of course, badniks are electronic.
Well,
Yeah.
referring to with like Sonic Boom with
Right.
Dr. Robotnik's tomato sauce, in which
Oh
you
yeah,
have all
the
those
stupid tomato
cans.
things. Yeah.
all the cans basically reprogramming all the appliances.
Yeah, fair enough. This does feel like a typical Sonic Boom episode, except I like the execution of Sonic X way more.
Yeah.
It's way more epic as Sonic. While Sonic Boom is kind
Yeah.
of.
Well, then-
I think I've also noticed that the way the vacuum cleaner moves around is something like something out of a stop motion animation in a way.
Oh yeah, kind of. Yeah, it doesn't stand upright. It's just
Just goes whirls around a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an awesome episode. I love it. I like silly plots like this.
There was a weird thing. Another time it kind of subverted my expectations. Was after the Thorndikes got the water running again. I'm like, oh good, now the firefighters can finally destroy all the appliances and save the city. And it cuts to Sonic and Knuckles with a hose.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I actually thought they were gonna show Sonic and Knuckles riding the hoses while the firefighters put them out, but no, they just take the hoses this is my show, bitch.
Hosepipe band be damned.
that just came out of nowhere. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Especially with the weird camera shot they could use. It's almost like Sonic and Knuckles are peeing on them.
Oh yeah, shot from behind.
Yeah.
I can imagine a guy coming from Inland Revenue coming and says, "Here's your water bill, sir."
But yeah, I mean, just seeing that picture though, it's like, Knuckles, we've got another choice. Start leaking on them.
Yeah, empty your bowel. Empty that bladder, Knuckles. Yeah. Oh!
Behold the power of my bladder.
I've been drinking a lot today.
You have quite a stream. I'm very impressed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Knuckles is surrounded by water, so he's really packing heat there.
Bad joke. Gotta love it.
How convenient! An electric toilet.
Oh, but that's a good point, because if you pee on electric wire, you get a shock. So I guess the same happens when you short circuit machines too. So
Oh yeah. Well, I guess Sonic and Knuckles are using protection.
Sure, why not? I bet Sonic has
Yeah, kind of like when a dippy thing, like "Don't whiz on the electric fence."
Oh yeah.
Gotta compliment Sonic. He's actually communicating this time, because it's been a running theme in the past episode that he never communicates when something goes on. But in this episode he does. So,
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sonic. You finally has to talk things and give instructions. Well done.
So if I can go off topic for a second, I decided to actually look up a bunch of English words that do have Dutch origins, and some of these are very surprising. Like iceberg
Yep.
comes from Dutch,
Yep.
and so does cookie, surprisingly enough.
Yep.
I did not know that. The whole bit with the cookie. Yeah.
Yeah. Cockatoo, caboose, grab.
Yep.
Oh, a lot of words.
Yeah, I guess the Dutch have invented a lot of English words, or at least words
Especially in
that would be used.
America. Well, we started in New York and all that, so
Hmm.
we gave you all those weird, hard to pronounce words. Aren't you happy?
Well, at least you didn't give us Mr. Mixius Pidalic or whatever it is.
But that's why the word iceberg is so weird, because berg literally means just mountain, so it should just be an ice mountain. But now,
Yes.
now you suddenly used berg, which you just never used in English in any other context, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Oh well,
that's-
language, wacky.
Yeah.
Coffee is also
Now it just
Dutch
makes me
word.
wonder. Yeah, now it just makes me wonder if like Ice Mountain Zone from the Sonic game just renamed the Iceberg Zone in Dutch.
No, we never dub video game. Oh, Pokemon is Dutch, but Sonic games have never been Dutch. So. Fortunately, because our dubbers are cringe. And I remember watching Sonic X in Dutch once. Sonic calls himself Sonic the Hedgehog, like a hat sock. It's like, oh, that was so. It's always, it's
What's
always
Chris
amazing.
Thorndyke called?
It's always amazing when Dutch voice actors has to pronounce English words. It's terrible. Like, I had a show about cowboys, Lukey Luke, and thanks to that show, it took me a very long time for me to even pronounce Lucky, because they constantly call it Lukey, it's a Dutch pronunciation. But yeah, every single time they have like to say an English word, like a hard word, like a cowboy town is called Dead Man's Gulch, but then they pronounce it Dead Man's Gulch or something. And it's like,
That means
yes, this Dutch sound. It's great.
Dead man's halal.
sounds like something Ahmed would do. You know, ape, see, flim.
Yeah, our famous Dutch. Wonderful. Yeah, Dutch
You know,
people-
maybe that's why they call it Lukey Luke, because it sounds like loogie. Hacking up loogies.
Sure.
Also, apparently, luck is also one of the words with Dutch origins.
Oh, cool.
Ah,
That's close enough. Sure.
You also got Thorndyke, because dike is like a type of Dutch dam, isn't it?
Yeah, but Thorn isn't, so kind of half
Yeah.
Dutch, half not.
oh, that's interesting. I've heard of Klondike, but yeah.
But that Dike is Dutch. Oh, maybe Chris is originally from the Netherlands. Immigrant to America.
Maybe he's your long lost cousin, and that's why you featured him a lot in your old.
I just imagine that little boy in clogs and those overalls, he's sticking his finger in a dam.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
It was his ancestor, of course. Why not? That Chris always putting his finger in holes. Look out, Damon.
Oh no! Dream, get out of there!
We're making some terrible jokes today. My apologies.
Yeah, he'd like the pig sticking into Sonic's hole.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We're terrible today.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Maybe immature today.
Yeah, Ewan, are you embarrassed? You want to leave before it gets worse?
Jeez.
Doing all right? Breathe, mate, breathe.
I'm trying.
I think we should move on
I think we should move on. Yeah, let's go to the next
for Melting Man's health.
Yes.
So the next episode, which in Japanese has the wonderful name of The Ridiculous Epic Spy Battle, which is one of the most interesting titles so far. Unfortunately,
Most epic title ever.
Yep. Unfortunately, the American version was more generic. Just another superhero comes or something like that. I barely know even what they're referring to, Mr. Stewart, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so this episode is supposed to be a spy parody. Does anyone want to do the synopsis? Or is it mine?
I can do the synopsis.
Alrighty, go ahead.
Okay. Right, so, thanks to Bo-kun, Robotnik is now free from jail, and now the president's all fretting, like, oh, Robotnik's escaped, what evil scheme he's gonna do now? So, of course, he sends in, like, Topaz and Rouge to try and find him. And they said, like, oh, I've also sent another spy to help out with the search, and of course, that other spy being, Mr. Stewart, who's out, using his fancy goggles. And then he gets caught by the kids from school. We got, Chris, Francis, Danny, Cream, and Emerald.
And
So they're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just bird watching. So he's trying to cover up the whole spy thing. And then Danny grabs the binoculars, like, oh, wow, he can see so clearly. And then he sees Robotnik just casually buying old books at a library. So like, oh, there's Robotnik. Oh, okay, you kids go home. It's too dangerous. So Stewart gets in his car. And then the kids are like, nope, we're going with you. Whee! So Stewart is just stuck with the kids on this spy mission where they find Robotnik's underground sewer layer thing. But of course they quickly get captured. And while that's going on, Sonic's trying to look for Chris and the others, and casually walking by, speeding by Topaz and Rouge, who are doing absolutely nothing except eating ice cream or whatever it is that they're at the diner. So like, oh, if you see Robotnik, just let us know. Like, Sonic's like, oh, okay. So, right, so back with Stewart and the kids, they're trapped in the cell. Stewart pulls out a hairpin from Helen and manages to pick the lock to break open. And so they try and follow Robotnik, and they lead up to this door where, like, oh, there's a password. Like, wait, this is too easy. So he thinks that if he types in the password, the door's going to blow up, so he doesn't want to kill the kids. So for plot convenience, they just so happen to see Bo-kun snoozing on top of one of the doors. And so they coax him into, like, oh, Ella makes, like, great food, like baked cherry pies. So they trick him to, like, trying to find Sonic, which, of course, he quickly runs into Sonic. He's like, oh, can you tell, like, Rouge and Topaz about this? Like, no, well, Ella makes strawberry shortcake. It's like, oh, okay. So he goes off and tells them. And then, they get captured by Robotnik and his big egg spider robot. But then Sonic quickly shows up along with Topaz and Rouge. Lots of fights happen, but in the end, they manage to come out victorious, and Robotnik loses. And then Chris and his friends make it back to their mansion, where where it looks like Bo-kun finally got the treats that he wanted. And then Sonic just yucks it up yucks it up. The end.
Yeah, that surprised me. I thought Ella would take revenge for the last time since he blew him up, but he doesn't for his actions.
Yeah.
What a wholesome ending. Yeah, another fun episode. I love the beginning. That's super darkly lit. Like you first get the title, like, oh, the epic spy battle, and the president's all dramatically lit, and you get this big shocking zoom in of Dr. Eggman. What evil thing gonna do? And then Topaz and Rouge get this dramatic shot. And every single time they're introduced, the president is all super happy, like, "Ah, Miss Rouge, Topaz!" Like a really
that was so weird. Oh, my heroes!
It makes me laugh. It's just weird detail.
Yeah, big booby spies. Oh boy!
And everything is so atmospheric and dramatic and serious and heavy, and then all of a sudden, yay, you're here! Like, okay.
Yeah, like you think like the lights would turn on when they show up, but no, they're still in that darkened room.
Because this is the epic spy battle. It has to be all epic and dramatic.
Yeah.
And all that setup just for Rouge and Topaz to just sit eating ice cream the whole episode, yeah.
Yeah, they barely do anything in the episode.
Man, I wasn't expecting a full-blown parody, but yeah, this has to be a parody of stuff. That's great. I also love how at first it looks like Mr. Stewart is also just randomly doing stupid things. Like he's just standing in a random alley, and then he's looking at a random tree. So I was almost like laughing, and man, this guy is useless. And then the tree actually does have the robot, and the alley he was at first actually does have the base eventually. He's like, oh damn, the guy actually was on the ball this time. I did not expect that. So Mr. Stewart is pretty epic.
Surprisingly competent.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So that's nice for him. I guess so.
But
Yeah, you want to say something?
I don't think we should gloss over the true best part of this episode, which is the return of Helen, everyone's favorite human.
Yay, best girl. Best Sonic X girl.
And when they're in Mr. Stewart's transforming car boat, there's apparently a little lizard, and Danny is afraid of the lizard. But Helen likes lizards, and she catches lizards and snakes and bugs, and just more proof that she's the best human.
Yep.
In Japanese, he's a bit mean-spirited because he's actually angry at Danny for being scared of lizards. Like, whoa, Alan.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's all like, "Oh, you're a man. You shouldn't be afraid."
Yeah.
But I guess in the American version, they soften her up a bit. Yeah, Ewan, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, oh, you're scared of little lizards? I'm brave enough to stroke poisonous caterpillars.
But that's the reason why she's in a wheelchair. She's stroking all kind of deadly animals.
Yeah. Because caterpillar's like, yeah, that doesn't look like the more the friendly kind.
Hey, Helen, why are you in a wheelchair? Flashback when she's petting a bear or a lion or something. That explains a lot. Yeah, the school kids finally get some attention. Like, it's always a running gag for me. Like, they're supposed to be main characters, but they barely do anything. But yeah, this episode they actually do get a lot of screen time. So hooray for Danny and I'm forgetting her name.
Francis,
there we go. Poor girl. Finally getting some.
They still don't do anything in this episode, but they're here.
Yeah.
They get a couple lines this time. They almost feel irrelevant, so good for them.
I'm pretty sure the only one who contributed was Helen had a hair clip that Mr. Stewart used to pick the lock.
And Helen called for the apple pie.
Yeah, she's and coaxing Bo-kun, yeah. Only proof that she is should have been the main human surrogate.
Exactly.
Really weird.
I also love how Bo-kun is so adorably gullible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think it's one of the rare moments where we see like a more innocent Bo-kun, because he always loves to blow people up with the TVs, but no, he's not doing much. He's just relaying messages just so we can have some food.
Yeah.
Just give him proper motivation. He's your best buddy.
Hashtag relatable.
There you go. Who doesn't like a good apple pie? Even Helen does. So who can't argue with her?
Yeah.
I also love that Sonic finally shows up to save everyone, and he almost immediately gets his ass kicked by the egg spider, and Emerald's just standing there watching. At the very least, he already knows the spin dash. He can help, but he's just standing there.
Yeah.
All the while, Rouge and Topaz are on their exciting adventure of trying out new desserts.
Yeah.
Emerald is really funny because, like we said, we know him from Sonic Battle, but imagine we never saw Sonic Battle. We don't know what's coming. We only know Sonic X. This robot just shows up with no explanation. He's clearly a robot from Robotnik. They haven't proved anything that he's nice. And he's just spending every single scene standing in the background just watching.
Kind of reminds me of your IMP episodes. I think it has a postman or something standing in the background.
Oh, yeah, I made a joke about that, yeah. But that's something different. But yeah, it's kind of funny to think Emerald's a deadly killer or something, like a slasher killer, and just standing there. Nobody's paying any attention to him. Because it's so funny. He doesn't do anything, nobody acknowledges him. Even Robotnik doesn't respond, even though that's supposed to be his robot. It's so funny that nobody cares. It's just a deadly robot standing there, and everyone's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think the only moment where someone did care, there was two moments. There was Francis' comments oh wow, Emerald can copy abilities, that's so cool. And then when the fight starts, it's kind of weird where Cream just oh, ML copy Rouge, and then he does that and does the thing, which is weird because in the Japanese version, instead she's oh, I gotta help too, and then Emerald just copies the ability.
Yep.
Okay, that makes more sense, because that was a very weird moment. Cream just telling him to copy Rouge, when it looked like he was already doing that anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, Cream kind of has a bit of weird moments, depending on which version. Because, there's that, and then there's the scene with, Cream, laughing while they're in the speedboat. And it's weird, because, in the Japanese version, she's more laughing at Danny being a coward at lizards. But in the English dub, it's more, kind of random, oh, she's enjoying the thrill or something like that.
I guess they just want to make her more innocent, yeah.
Yeah.
I also love how Mr. Stewart, and like after the kid's already in his car, like he doesn't do anything safe anymore. He just drives with his car over the staircase. Also, I want to talk a bit before about Eggman's base, right? So Mr. Stewart is in that dark alleyway, and he's sort of looking like, where did Eggman go? Where's Eggman? There has to be like a secret passageway. And he slowly discovers, like, oh, Eggman is somewhere underground. He's looking around, so I'm expecting him to find like a hidden pathway or to find like some sort of lid to open up or something. But no, then they just point out there's this big giant gaping hole, this waterfall and staircases. Like you didn't notice that before? Like I was waiting for like a secret hidden passageway or something, but no, there's this big giant obvious location. Like, okay. Made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
I also liked when, like, they're in, like, Eggman's jail cell, and, like, everyone starts suspecting that Chalkboard Charlie might be a spy, and, like, but he's, like, getting extremely nervous about being found out. And so Eggman says, like, oh, he can't be a spy. Spies are cool under pressure. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, if a spy didn't want you to think he was a spy, he wouldn't act like a spy.
And maybe he's not a good spy.
Yeah, it's more in the that's kind of more in the Japanese version. Like, oh, Stewart can't be a spy. Spies are cooler than that.
Instant cut to James Bond randomly.
Yeah, that's another thing that really surprised me, like the James Bond reference. So, like, it's in both versions, but weirdly enough, in the 4Kids dub, they kept the whole, like, gun sound effect, because you'd think with how they tend to avoid that, they would replace with, like, a laser sound effect.
I guess James Bond is so cool he can get away with the actual pistol shooting in 4Kids. But the one thing, that the Japanese version actually had the James Bond theme playing, which, of course, 4Kids also removed for copyright reasons, probably.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
Well, it's not really the James Bond theme, but very close to it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like when they... Oh.
All it's missing is dripping blood.
Yeah. I do like how, when they were getting through door number 1, Mr. Stewart actually used it as an opportunity to teach the kids some fun chemistry.
Oh, I thought it was just part of him still trying to pretend he's not a spy. No, I'm your teacher. Let's do science class now. Randomly, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right.
Like,
I
I like that he used that as an opportunity to actually teach.
Yeah, even though it's like, oh, watch as I put this chemical into this other chemical. There, now you kids know how to make bombs.
Yeah, well, you think it's a genuine lesson.
Kids, we gotta cook!
It's not like a bad excuse.
Oh, no.
Ah, fucking hell, man. Shit's good.
And then Mr. Stewart goes, I am the one who knocks.
No,
Also, can we talk about how
just-
Eggman
no.
hailed the taxi with lifting his leg? That was random.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so hilarious. Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that. I actually wrote a note about that, but I haven't talked about it.
Yeah, speaking of suggestive poses.
To be fair, his arms were full with books, I guess, but yeah, it's still pretty funny.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I do like the implication that Eggman actually paid for the books and the taxi.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like legitimately pays them, yeah.
Do we ever learn why he needed those books? I think it's just part of spy parody.
he said he was researching for his next scheme.
Oh, did he not say that in the American version? Because
So they weren't Jane Austen books then?
possibly, who knows?
Yeah, baby!
I don't know what he's researching, so... Yeah, I think in the Japanese version, he's just like, oh, let me tell you about my evil plan. Actually, you should know, and then he walks off.
Yeah, I can't remember if like the books was for creating the egg spider or for like something in a future episode.
Fair enough.
All the dub says is that he needs them for his next plan, and does not elaborate. And they ask Deco and Boko, and they're like, you think we would tell you? He doesn't even tell us!
Yeah, and they break down in tears. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of more sadder in the. I feel it's a little more sadder in the Japanese version when they start crying. It's like, oh, Deco, Boko, let's go cry in the corner. Okay.
It is depressing because to work so hard, yeah.
Yeah, in the English dub, it's kind of more toned down. It's like, oh, we work so hard. He don't give us no respect. Yeah.
We don't get any time off. Let's go dry our tears before we rust.
Yeah. I kind of feel sorry for them. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because like when they first started out, they were kind of just generic robots, and then later they developed personalities, and now they kind of feel a lot more sympathetic.
Yeah, they do.
Honestly, I like Deco and Boko. They might be my favorite Eggman sidekick robots.
Oh, really? How come?
Well, because first off, I find them funny. I think they have a great sense of humor, unlike like Orbot and Cubot, who are not funny.
Yeah,
Most
they're
of the time.
dry. Yeah.
Yeah, Deco and Boko like actually funny, and also, unlike any other sidekicks that Eggman has ever had, they actually get an awesome moment in season 3, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Also, there is some sort of like trope in anime where you have like a comedic trio. Like they would have, you got Team Rocket in Pokemon. You got those 3 villains in an anime called Yataman.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, sure. It's a tradition, I guess. What I like about them is that they occasionally actually pilot robots. Like I wish Orbot and Cubot would ever do that, but they never do. So Scratch and Grounder and Dacon and Bocon are the only ones who actually actively fight Sonic in the field.
Yeah, Deco and Boko are definitely the most competent sidekicks Eggman has ever had.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, very competent. Yeah.
So yeah, plenty of reason to love them. Sure. Just a shame it took a while for them to get a personality.
Well, it's better than with the Orbot and Cubot, where they're just stuck with those dry personalities for forever.
I have to admit, I love Orbot and Unleashed. If he was always like that, I liked him when he's just like the beleaguered assistant. But yeah, from Colors On, when Pontic and Graf start riding him, I don't like them anymore because then they just constantly insult Eggman to his face. It's like, why does Eggman accept this?
Yeah, especially with like Cubot, where they started the whole like, oh, the voice chip's broken. Oh, we gotta do wacky voices, but then later on they dropped the whole bit.
Yep. And it's just such a shame because it makes so much sense because the game takes place in a theme park, so you can use the voice as part of the theme park parody, but they never really utilize it in any clever way. Yeah, whatever. That's it. It's off topic now.
They utilized it in a clever way exactly once, and that was Rise of the Wisps, where Cubot had the announcer's voice.
Correct. That's the only time they made a good joke. But hey, that's what happens when you don't have Pontic and Graf writing it. Then you actually have a chance for a good joke.
It was the only time Cubot was actually funny.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to seeing Rise of the Wisps. I kind of ignored all of the official Sonic shorts that came out for like that and Mania and Team Sonic Racing, mostly over my bitterness. But I don't know, maybe I'll give them more of a chance this time.
What about Frontiers? Yeah, Luke, go ahead.
I don't know if Orbot and Cubot are going to be in Sonic Prime or Robotnik, or the Robotniks are going to have like minions of their own.
That's a very good question. We haven't heard anything about Orbot and Cubot in Frontiers yet.
Or Eggman.
Eggman has been confirmed. He's immediately killed in the opening scene.
Not for Prime.
Oh, for Prime, yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Oh yeah, Prime. Yeah, Prime's kind of stuck in limbo again. It's like, oh, what are we gonna know more about it? I don't know.
Yeah, we heard a lot about it in June, and then nothing.
That's Sonic Boy, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that's becoming like the main trend with like recent Sonic products these days. Like not including the comics. It's just like, oh, announcement comes, and then months go by with nothing, and then oh, okay, we forgot to do this thing. Okay, let's do it more because like we did that with Sonic Origins. And apparently, like, Frontiers was kind of in that boat for a while, and now Sonic Prime's back in there.
I guess so. But yeah, before we talk about the rest of that, I guess we should finish off this episode first. Anything else? One detail I found funny is that Mr. Stewart's car got like a mid-commercial shot. I like it. It's just called Stewart's car. Like, that's the official name of the car.
Yeah,
like, go to a car dealership. I like Stewart's car, please.
Yeah. I didn't know it had a name. It's probably because I was watching the Hulu version, which of course removed the Japanese text from the Japanese version.
I guess so. Oh well.
Yeah. So when the cards show up, it's just a card's flipping and that's it.
Who's that Pokemon? Stewart's car.
It's Stewart's car.
Yeah, Stewart's car, best Pokemon ever. Brum, brum.
Well, you do have motorbike like Pokemon in the new upcoming games.
Well, there you go.
Oh yeah.
So now you have a car boat Pokemon. Why not?
Yeah. And then, of course, they have that fight with the giant egg spider thing, which they kind of suddenly realize, like, oh wow, this is like the first time of many that Robotnik has made a robot that looks like a giant spider. Because after that, like, Archie Sonic did it with the egg tarantula, and of course Sonic Mania did it with that whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, and Sky Battery level. Yeah, it's a cool design for a robot, I guess.
Yeah, but of course, knowing me, I'll just be like, Archie Sonic did it better with the design.
Of course, that's you. Can I also mention I really get irritated how often in anime they constantly have to call each other's name, like especially when it sounds so awkward. I mean, there's that sequence where they just suddenly call cream, cheese, and emerald, but then they even pronounce their name so awkwardly. Cream, cheese, emerald. It creates such a weird like gap in the episode all of a sudden.
Yeah, that sounded like rolling R's.
Yeah. They don't make it themselves easy with those names, yeah. Also, I kind of like this pathway. It's like, if you have to have green hills on it, make it look like this. It looks kind of neat.
Oh, yeah, where it's just a checkered road and that's it, yeah. It's like nice, it's not like, big in your face like Sega does. Like, oh, it's Green Hills Alive. It's like, no, just making, little subtle touches in the background that make it, I'm fine with that, yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, one thing. Like at the beginning of the episode, you get this dramatic zoom in of Eggman, and he says something evil. And then later, I wonder what Sonic would say. And then it zooms in on him, and he goes, "I don't care." That made me laugh. I feel that was a bit some sort of running gag where you constantly see like a character dramatically. Like later, you see Cream dramatically, like, "I like cookies."
That was so
reminds me of an early episode where Sam and Amy in a car, and I think there was a dramatic zoom on Sam's face.
Oh, really? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I just know the whole. I just know the whole bit was sounds like, "Oh, I don't care." Apparently, that was like more in the Japanese version, because in the English dub, I think he says something like, "Oh, I'll find him," and then runs off.
Fair enough. But yeah, the spy episode. Anything else you want to say? Kids finally got your attention.
Maybe like some small thing I want to mention though. Well, two. Like one is of course when Chuck is basically telling Sonic like, none of the guys are back yet, and neither is Chris. And Sonic's almost like, say no more, and just runs straight off. With it's like. Yeah, it's to be expected. Like when Chris vanishes, it's like, "Yep, gotta save his ass again."
Gotta save my love, Chris.
Yeah.
I especially love like Chuck walking up to Sonic and like, did you know if Chris had anything special planned for after school today? He hasn't come home. And Sonic just takes off. And Chuck's just standing there like, I'll take that as a no.
Yeah.
I take that as oh shit! Chris is want to jump off the cliff. I should stop him. I forgot.
Well, Chris is down a well. Go get him, lassie.
Well, he is. He is in the sewers.
Oh my god!
But the other thing, though, of course, is like, when like they're in the car and it changes from like a car to a boat, but yet the kids don't respond to it. I would have thought they would have at least said something, and then, Mr. Stewart would have basically responded with, "I had a few optional extras installed."
Yeah, that was so weird. Like, they didn't recognize that, and throughout the whole episode, the kids just don't believe that he's a super spy, even though there's, like, big fucking red flags that can tell he's a spy.
I think the kids were probably next Tornado for so long, they were pretty much used to transforming vehicles.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, that's the reason why I found the later science experiment so funny, because he's constantly doing spy stuff, but then just has this flimsy teacher excuse. Like, this is a science experiment. That's why I have this spy equipment. Like, okay.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like it really matters at this point. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, at least we get
I can imagine like Mr. Stewart taking out a person and Mr. like, "Oh no, I'm just putting him to sleep. He's a bit tired, you see."
Can you look for my friend? She's dead tired. Like make him fully into a killing super spy.
Yeah, see, I'm giving him a necktie. See, yeah, it's a very thin necktie.
Yeah.
Oh boy, do you want me to reanimate James Bond sequences with Mr. Stewart in them now?
Might as well.
I'd pay money for
The
that.
opening scene for Casino Royale, where Daniel Craig kills his first guy in the bathroom, with Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, named Stewart, Mr. Stewart. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
No, Blackboard Charlie, of course.
Oh yeah, hey Charlie, chalkboard Charlie.
Stupid humor. Okay, should we go to the Fleetway, or do you have more statements about our epic spy battle?
No, I'm good.
Fleetway time! Back to Tails' epic adventures and all that. But first, we go to a story about a big statue. Does anyone want to do a synopsis?
Which issue is this?
This is issue 29, with a big statue at first, the Sonic story.
Yeah.
With the cover with Tails as a knight. Going, "Grrr," of Dutch said, "Grrr."
Oh yeah, predating Sonic and the Black Knight, but with tails.
Exactly.
Hey,
Ain't a Black Knight.
I kind of wonder if that whole sort of grr thing is also like a double meaning because of the inside Super Kellogg's Frosties combo. They're great.
Yeah, it does look like the cover for a cereal box.
You wouldn't think there would have been Tails-filled cereal back in the day.
Yeah.
I think the only closest Sonic food we got here was like those spaghetti pasta shapes and those biscuits that resembled like Sonic characters' faces, including Sally Acorn. I think those are the only closest thing to food that we had related to Sonic here during his hot popularity.
Yeah, I think there actually was a Sonic branded cereal, but that didn't happen until much later.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But, right, shall we start with Sonic the Sentinel?
yeah, I guess I'll do this one.
Alright, sure, if you want.
So it starts with a statue coming out of the water. Moving on. In Sonic's secret base, Dr. Kintabor is not smiling for once, so you know it's serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he tells them something's going on. Like Johnny, Parker, Amy, and Tails are all busy. So Sonic hops into a star post, goes to what I'm guessing is Marble Zone, because it looks like Marble Zone, and he gets immediately attacked by wisps. I don't remember those being called that, but okay. He takes out two of them immediately. The last one shoots him with a laser beam and says, "Oh, you'll never get my organic battery." And Sonic takes offense to that and chucks a rock at it so hard that it explodes. And all the animals are fine, of course. And oh no, arrows are being shot at Sonic, so it's not Marble Zone. It's
Aquatic Ruins, yeah.
Yeah,
Aquatic Ruin from Sonic 2. Because, of course, Sonic 2. Anywho, Sonic dives underwater for some reason. And, he gets pinned under some rubble, almost dies, the statue, reaches down and grabs him. Sonic's like, well, this is it. But no, the statue's like, no, I'm here to help. I'm here to protect the people who live here, but nobody lives here. Anyways, I'm gonna die now. And then he just dies.
The end.
Yes.
Well, that escalated fast.
It's a great
My
end.
work here is done.
Yeah, man,
it's-
is that how you do your work on a television studio too? I'm done, and he just dropped to the floor in pieces.
Well, first I'll need a big knife. But yeah, that's one thing I kind of noticed. Like, oh, Sonic trapped under pillars, like underwater, and I'm just like, huh, was this the inspiration of that one scene from Sonic Movie 2?
I doubt
Oh.
it, but who knows? I thought
Probably
they
not,
had
yeah.
references to Fleetway, did they? So maybe. But they
Yeah,
didn't have
speaking
a
of the-
suicide statue, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Sonic 2, though, it's kind of seemed to notice how Kintabor is actually somewhat starting to resemble, like, Jim Carrey,
Yeah, that's what I've said as well.
in a way.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like in this comic, though, it's like a bit more obvious, just because it just how the artist has drawn him, and it's like, all I can see is Jim Carrey with, like, the big tash and also, like, big sideburns or whatever.
I think it's also because he's got a thinner face. He's also got the Jim Carrey chin as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's another thing that Fleetway Sonic predated the future.
Okay, am I the only one who's kind of creeped out by Sonic? He's actually kind of nice in this one, and it freaks me out. Like, he hears that Tails is gone, he's like, oh, that's unfortunate. Like, he doesn't say, oh, the stupid pixel brain, where's the motherfucker gone? Ah! Even at one point, they insult animals being trapped, and Sonic is upset about it. But, hey, don't insult my friends that way. It's like, who are you? You're not Sonic. Not Fleetway Sonic anyway.
Maybe this comic was written by an American writer and not like a UK writer.
Must be, yeah. Sonic is shockingly nice in this one. It freaks me out.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny how he reacts to his own impending death. He's kind of super chill about it. Well, I guess I die quicker now. Oh well.
I do wonder if the statue was somewhat inspired by that statue from Jason and the Argonauts, which is like this giant metal statue that was walking, except he got taken out by being hit in the foot.
That's possible. Or wasn't there like a giant statue, one of the world's wonders, like from Rhodes Island or something? I think. So.
Might be the Colossus of Rhodes.
Oh, that one, yeah, the Colossus of Rhodes. So yeah, I guess it's all inspired by that sort of thing. I mean, it's about a submerged city, so I guess it's supposed to have like an Atlantis feel to it.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's British, and you guys love your ancient legends and all that, right?
Yeah. Apparently so.
There you go. Yeah, you don't like ancient legends? You don't like Atlantis and Rhodes? The island that things you drive on? I like Rhodes. It's a great place to go to vacation.
Yeah.
Okay, rest of the comic. I like this screenshot of Streets of Rage 3 where the guy's just catching bullets at his shoe. Makes me laugh. Oh, did someone else want to say anything more about the comic before we move on? I think we're done, right?
Well, I was just referring to with the story though. It's like, just remember that story because it will actually be brought up again, but not for like another 100 issues.
Oh really?
Oh,
Go
yeah.
back to the lore of the underwater city.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
the
they
statue.
eventually like bring it back up again. It's like, oh yeah, we remember this. Let's just bring this guy up again and see who remembers it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's continuity like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna be expecting another like a little tab that comes up like, oh, see issue blah 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 to see what they were talking about when they bring this up again.
Are there gonna be more statues that kill themselves?
So, he comes from a world of suicidal statues.
Yeah, I did want to mention this. I think this is the first Sonic comic that actually like refers to Tails' separate adventures. That actually refers to that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Because Toa just nonchalantly just says, "Oh, Tails disappeared again."
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think this is the only time that Sonic comics actually referred to Tails having his own comic strips here. So that's nice. But yeah, like I
And
said,
speaking of
yeah, go ahead.
Tails Adventures, should we move on to that?
Later, but first I have to show this picture, this image of the Streets of Rage comic because I like this one. Like guy exploding,
Okay.
the heroes looking derpy. But yeah,
Oh, yeah,
just a
that
thing you
one.
want to see in a Sonic comic, people horribly dying.
Yeah. Because even seeing that, I was like, oh yeah, we're definitely very dark.
Very dark. But I especially love how derpy the heroes look like. Derp! And
Bomb.
you British in your comics, I love it. But yeah, Luke, do you want to do the Tails story, part 2?
Of course.
Tails
with,
versus the Griffin.
Tails, the second part of the Morbin hunt, where he has to rescue 2 cubs stolen by goblins in the Nameless Zone. In this issue, Tails is set upon by an evil-looking griffin who misses him and lands on the ground eating dirt. So he managed to give him the slip, but he got trapped in a cavern. But they both fall down a pit, but Tails flies up as the griffin just falls down again. And then he comes across these anthropomorphic dog centaur characters, and they were like, "Oh, thank you, Tails. That griffin has been terrorizing our village." And Tails looked a bit nervous about these creatures. And said, "Oh, come into our village. That's all populated by dog centaur creatures." And then I was going, "Oh, is there anything we could do for you?" And so they told about like a goblin flying boat, and so they take one of Tails' cool. The the Centaur cool boat, and Tails is like, oh, what am I doing here? It should be Sonic who be doing this. I want to be at home. So you get this really cool shot of them going on this really cool looking green goblin warship, and Tails crashes on the beach, and then he comes across with the goblin captain.
And that's our big cliffhanger. You know, I love with the Griffin how even if he did catch Tails, he would have died anyway. I always love that when a villain makes a move like that. It's like you're already falling down, but don't forget catching Tails would have helped you there. So you pretty much already committed suicide. But yeah, finally Tails meets people who are grateful for him and actually show him respect, actually help him and call him by his right name. So that's refreshing to see, because most people that ask him for help or need to be rescued always insult him and give him the wrong name and all that. So that's heartwarming.
Yeah, they do have this very strange design of like dogs as centaurs.
Yeah,
it's a really weird design. They draw the centaurs.
Oh well, it's a fantasy world, so it's nice to use different designs. I mean, the Griffin also looks kind of weird. Also, I didn't expect it to be actually dead, because it looks like such a Looney Tunes moment. But yeah, later they say, he's actually vanquished and dead. So that's dark.
Yeah, because what I like about this comic is like Tails has just wandered into like this epic, completely different comic. It's like all fantasy and adventure. Like they could have just put any other like fantasy hero in this.
Yeah, not entirely, because Tails constantly saves the day by flying. I mean, it becomes kind of like tiresome, because almost in every comic that happens, like Tails and an enemy fall, and then Tails is like, oh yeah, I can fly, and that saves the day over and over and over again. I think it happens in the next comic as well again. So it has to be Tails in that regard. So every enemy has the same weakness, jumping off a cliff.
Yeah.
Aha, this time Tails will surely forget he can fly. Oh shit, he remembered again. Ah, you did it again, Tails. You bastard.
Yeah, it's almost like Tails has wandered into a Legend of Zelda game.
Pretty much, yeah. Inspired by the same sort of thing, yep. But yeah, and that was that comic. Last time we talked about the weird comic about the guy with the fez and the skull, and Ewan then reminded me that they actually did commercials for Sega games.
Yeah.
And funny enough, like I mentioned, the music's... The song from Right Said Fred, Wonder Man, actually they also appeared in that one, so I should have recognized them. But yeah, so apparently those freaky looking guys were part of Britain's Sega advertisement thing going on back then. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to clarify that. So there you go. Now you know your British lore.
Yeah, the artwork is just so weird in this story.
It's not a very pleasant art style. Not that I should be saying that my art style was horrible.
Well, I mean, it's like, I think overall it's like very busy, as it were, so it's kind of hard to follow exactly what's going on.
Pretty much.
Because like 1 minute, because like there's so much happening, it's like, what's going on? I don't know.
All I can say is it looks very, very British, which they keep saying about Fleetway, so good job. It's a national treasure. Okay, fan art we get this week. A cute picture of Babs Bunny. I'm sure Melting Man wanted to see that, so here you go, buddy, just for you, cute little bunny. So.
Cream's better. I'm not really that big into Babs Bunny.
Poor Tiny Toons. Okay, then we go to the next Fleetway. Man, is this an epic cover or what? And this kid's pointing to you, and you're gonna fucking die, bitch. That's exactly the cover I want to see in a Sonic comic.
Yeah, Skate's what you did.
How dare you buy this thing?
Yeah. No, I think he's just like, you, give me some ice cream now.
I'll shoot you.
I'll shoot you with my invisible gun. Yeah.
He has a visible gun, it's in his different hand. So don't underestimate this guy. He has an invisible and a visible gun at the same time.
Yeah, a visible gun can be deadly, but an invisible gun, oh, that's even more deadly.
He has both, so you're in big trouble. But right, the actual Sonic comic, where we start with something that will shock modern Sonic Team and give them a heart attack. Tails and Amy actually assisting Sonic and helping save the day. Anyone wants to do a synopsis?
I could do the synopsis.
Alrighty.
Alright, so... Right, this is for the Sonic one. So we see Sonic, Amy, and Tails are freeing some friends being trapped in robots. So, yay, day saved. And then this... this bear comes in like, oh, Sonic, yeah, there's a monster terrorizing my city. And it's like, all right, I'll help you out, lady. And Amy's pretty jealous. Like, no, Sonic is my boyfriend. But then rushes off to the city where it's all in ruins. The river is fire for some reason, but then it turns out, oh no, it's a trick. There's robots everywhere, and this innocent little bear with creepy eyes is now a giant bear with creepy eyes. And then it's revealed, oh, I am Metamorphia. I am the evil shape-shifting power creature made by Robotnik. So she manages to knock out Sonic by turning into gas, which knocks him out. So it's I got a Robotnik, and now I've trapped him in this giant, retro block. So yeah, you're trapped now, Sonic. You try and do anything, it'll just reverse right back at you. So Sonic's okay, I'll do jack shit. So he does absolutely nothing, which somehow causes the block to implode or explode. And so he knocks out Morphia. It's oh, curse you, Sonic! And then Sonic tries to escape, then finds out, oh, there's Tails, and insults him. But then it's oh, I saw the Metamorphia go by. It's oh, really? Yeah, right over that cliff, huh? And then, oh, take a closer look, Sonic's nope. And then it turns out Tails is actually Metamorphia. And she falls into the fire, and thus the day is saved. But is it? But as we see that Metamorphia survived the flames, and it's I'll be back, Sonic! And that's it.
Yeah.
But just like the previous comic, yet again, we have a villain that would have died anyway, even if they did manage to hit Sonic, because she was pretty much already going towards the fire there. Although she didn't die because he can transform into something that goes against fire.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Turned
you
into
want to say
asbestos.
something?
Just saying that she just probably turned into asbestos. That's why she survived the heat.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, when she shows up for the first time, she already looks like a weird monster, like a zombie.
Yeah.
It's not a very pleasant look.
I mean, one thing I would obviously probably say, just thinking a bit deep into it, is maybe Amy's just being,
Jealous.
racist.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just saying in general, though, just because she doesn't like the squinting eyes. The eyes are different.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I know. I'm going that way.
Yeah, I do like the creepy art style. I mean, seeing how creepy Metamorphia looks in the bed should give you a bit of an early warning sign that she's actually not all she claims to be. And the panel where we see her screaming and falling into the fire is back to what Sonic would do, chucking people off cliffs to their death and that. Like when he threw that Santa egg Robotnik off a cliff.
Oh right, yeah.
Brains leaking out.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of my parody of the Sonic OVA ending, where I did this whole bit. It's oh, Sonic, help me! And then Sonic grabs him and is long live the king, bitch! And then he throws him into the lava. The whole Lion King spoof, yeah.
Yeah, pretty dark, yep. Yeah, and if...
I think one thing...
Yeah, go
Sorry.
on.
No, I was just going to basically saying, with Sonic just running off and, in that one panel of, both, Amy and Tails have their arms stretched out, almost saying, stop, don't, come back. In that sort of
That looks funny, yeah.
I also like the panel of Sonic running across the ruined town, because it looks like something out of Ravenholm from Half-Life 2, and you've got, broken TVs, skulls, and loads of junk lying around, and broken windows, that sort of thing.
The town looks awesome, yeah. For some reason, I didn't get the scan of it. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I love how this town looks like, yeah. Yeah, another thing I wanted to say. Since the prison explodes when Sonic doesn't do anything, shouldn't the prison already have exploded when he was unconscious at the start? Oh well, stupid logic.
Yeah.
Also, I love...
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah?
Honestly, I don't think it makes sense anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a weird attempt to be smart. I also love that he immediately knows Tails is fake just because Tails actually calls him out on his bullshit. It's stop insulting me, I can do whatever I want. It's yep, you're fake, die. Would have been funny if he didn't even know it wasn't the real Tails, but just because he has he moused back to him, he immediately went, okay, Tails, you're dead. Fuck you. How dare you mouth back to me.
Yeah, he kills the real Tails. Yeah, that'd be pretty dark.
It was the bad guy. Oh, I didn't know that. I just wanted Tails dead because he moused back to me. How dare he?
Yeah.
Fleetway Sonic.
Yeah.
One less person to worry about.
I never liked you anyway, Tails.
Because as soon as he thinks he kills the girl, he immediately makes puns about it. It's oh, she fell for me, and she's an old flame now. I killed someone. Yay! Sonic, Fleetway Sonic.
Yeah. Yeah, still Metamorphia is kind of cool, being this shape-shifting creature, and like at least in this story, we don't even get a glimpse of what her true form looks like. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of left in mystery for a while.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll be back.
Yeah. So now all that's left is Metamorphia versus Mimic the Squid from IDW Sonic. Who would win?
That's for later. Yeah.
I think Metamorphia.
Yeah, I feel because Metamorphia can actually like wield weapons and whatnot, while Mimic just only disguises himself in appearance.
Well, that's kind of a Metamorpho too, because she can't fly as Tails. Even though later she turns to Sonic, but then does use.
Also,
She can fly-
Metamorphia
She
can
can
change
fly
his
as a
various-
rocket.
Yeah, so that
Also-
kind of makes no sense. Oh,
Also,
Yeah.
Metamorphia can change into various forms of matter, like gas.
that's also
Yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Read me in, Sonic. Breathe me in.
That's good shit there.
Yeah.
There's also in the first panel of the comic, there's like the machine that has Robotnik's original face on it. But like when Robotnik himself shows up for exactly one panel, he's in the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog style. So he hasn't gotten around to rebranding, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's an old canister.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's fun. I mean, you can. Well, why not use recycle old stuff?
Yeah.
He has more important things to worry about, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So for those people who were excited, happy that the girl didn't die horribly in the flames, and Fleetway is actually not as dark as usual. Later, we get Streets of Rage where people do die in the fire. So
Sure.
well, we see
Yeah.
innocent civilians and women just being blown up. So exactly what I want to see in the Sonic comic. Thanks, Britton. But yeah, we go to the next Tales story. Luke, you have the honor again. You do the
Okay, then the goblin. Right in this part, the goblins have managed to capture Tails. One of the goblins decides to cook him, but the goblin captain says, "Shut up!" and just slaps him, and says, "Oh, actually, we're good friends. You want to be friends, don't you?" And Tails like, "Okay." And so he takes him to his tent and shows him the cubs who are perfectly fine and drinking and playing around with dangerous weaponry, and decide to play a trick. And it says, "Oh, do you want to play tricks?" And it's like, but of course, Tails is not buying it. You think it must have fallen out of a tree or something. But you see, he's planning to take him to the Goblin Queen and decide to go to play hide and seek with her. But apparently, they'll be hidden so well that she won't find them. And Tails really doesn't like this idea. So they all go and visit the Goblin Queen. Yeah, she looks all right. And they're going to have a nice chat and decide to begin the great hunt. But of course, the kids are acting a bit nervous about this as Tails takes them away. So they go trying to find the way out, but they got completely lost. And then the Queen corners them with her weird creature thing.
Dinosaur
So
pet, yeah, whatever it is.
yeah.
Epic looking anyway. And that's our big cliffhanger of today. Yes. So, is this
Fox
epic enough for you, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, I really love the designs, especially the look of the ship approaching the castle and the design of the goblins.
Artwork is awesome, yeah. You wanted to say something?
No, all I simply was saying, like, Fox Pie, just because it said it at the bottom of the last page.
Oh, really?
Next issue, Fox Pie?
Oh, I guess I didn't have that in my scan.
No.
Oh, well. And, Captain, do you think the kids, when they're drinking lemonade, it's just lemonade, or is there something more stronger in them? I'm gonna drink you out. I'm making you drunk.
Actually, I was thinking that because, like, they're like talking about, oh, we get to stay up late and drink lemonade.
Yes. And play with the swords while we're drunk.
Oh, and who gave you this lemonade? Was it Mike?
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a hidden reference there. That's great stuff. But yeah, man, the art style is amazing. I love the detailed backgrounds and all that, and the castle looks good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, the story's kind of derpy. Oh well. Can't do much with 4 pages.
Yeah.
Anyone wants to say anything about it? We're going to go to the next final fleet wave today.
I would say that the Queen, yeah, she looks a bit, she looks a bit cute. I'm not saying cutie, but more like
I
fast
was about to
kicks.
say-
Yeah, she's
Yeah, I was
right.
about to say,
Bit.
Well, there you
Alright, I
go.
was
Melting Man goes more for cream. Luke goes more for the Goblin Queen. Everyone their
Yeah.
choice.
yeah.
I'll date her. I'll date her.
He's saying
I'm desperate enough.
Hide and seek with her, if you know what I mean.
Need some lemonade first, but after a while,
Yeah, you would just be like, oh, let's play hide and seek. And she's like, oh, that's a kid's game, not the way I play it.
Luke perpetuating the stereotype that British people are unattractive.
Oh, she does look like typical Essex lady.
Jesus.
Somewhat true.
we're so immature.
Yeah, she's got those great big boots.
Indeed, she does. She's gonna use them to hunt you down. Right, Fleetway 31 with another wonderful cover of a corpse decomposing and Slimer apparently escaping out of its suit.
Yeah, they looked a lot like Slimer in that image.
Yeah.
I thought it was Slimer.
Yes.
Indiana Slimer with the head and a cigar apparently.
I mean,
And ears.
Kind of most of those rubber head toys that look really
Yeah.
ugly creatures that you. I think you put fingers in the back. They have holes that you put your fingers in. You make weird expressions with them.
All right.
Oh yeah, like
Basically.
finger puppets. Yeah,
I can't remember their names or.
yeah. It reminds me of those like I can't remember the name. I know it's a thing in UK where it's like these these little squish toys with like big heads, and you're like supposed to squeeze them, and they let out some like nasty smell off of them. Can't
Yeah,
remember what they're called.
Not sure.
Mad Balls or something.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah, I remember Stuart Ashton's talked about him once. Yeah,
Ah,
He loves his weird toys, yeah. Ashton's,
but
yeah,
yeah.
all those cheap toys from Poundland. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. This was obviously like me getting back into Sonic comic when the parents obviously relented and started getting me the comics each issue, and this is obviously like seeing that cover. I was like, what the heck's going on here?
this is the second comic you got, and your parents actually agreed to buy this one?
Well, yeah, because I obviously seemed to kicked up that much of a fuss that they eventually decided after 10 issues to start getting me the comics again, and this was the issue I got. The second issue I
Great
got,
way
and
to
then
start.
I
I can
just got
imagine
one
when you
here.
saw this issue, you could think like, is Sonic going to be like skeletons and this orc creature with his head exploding?
Yes.
Your parents
Exploding off
immediately
his body.
regretted it. It's like, oh,
Well,
no.
it was just weird though. It was just like, like this doesn't feel very Sonic-y to me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
this is the
big-
Halloween special where Sonic turns into a decomposing corpse, you know.
Yes.
yeah, that's kind of weird. Like Archie Sonic has had a lot of issues where like the covers are like not really related to the stories, but most of them are just variation covers. Fleetway Sonic always has main covers that are sometimes like not even relevant to the stories, or at least
Well,
the
it's
Sonic
relevant to the
stories.
different
yeah.
stories because it is based on one of the other Sega games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not relevant to the Sonic-themed stories, yeah.
No, not quite. But yeah, the Sonic themed story. Speaking of which, does anyone want to do a synopsis?
I'll give it a go.
yeah,
since
it's
I've
your
been
comics,
quiet.
your Fleetway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Pretender story. And like the Mobians are looking up at the sky, it's like, it's a bird! It's a plane! It's Chuck Norris! No,
Chuck Norris!
It's Buzz Bombers, or as they're apparently called, Motorbugs for some reason. Which gets very confusing, because obviously Motorbugs are the one-wheeled bugs that go along the ground, as opposed to Buzz Bombers that fly, so someone needs to re-educate them.
Writers.
But anyway,
yeah.
with the Buzz Bombers coming in to attack, Sonic and his friends, like, arrive on the scene, like, yay, it's Sonic! But then suddenly, a recolor appears. Dun dun dun!
Oh my.
It's Scourge!
It's Scourge before.
It's Manic.
Yeah,
Or it's oh,
yeah, even the Flickies, like, has that facial expression of, like, oh my god!
Didn't
But
Sonic
yeah.
Boom also have a green Sonic rip-off recolor? Green is popular for evil Sonics, I guess.
Oh yeah, that Shroom
Yeah.
character or whatever his name
Oh
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed one of the inhabitants being rescued looks a bit like Teddy Ruxpin.
He even has like a
Oh,
British
yeah.
school uniform on, doesn't he? Or what's it
Yeah.
supposed to be?
Yeah, it looks more like a school uniform.
Like, it makes me want to see more of this world because we're constantly stuck at the Emerald Hill village. Like, is there a university? Is
Yeah.
there like different town? I mean, I guess with the Transformorpher girl last time we saw a different town, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying that Sonic's always stuck in Emerald Hill town again.
Yeah.
Oh,
But anyway, this
Sorry for
mysterious
interrupting
green. Yeah, it's all right. This mysterious green character pretty much explains who he is, saying that he's Cosmic the Hedgehog, the fattest spiky thing alive. And Sonic's like obviously jealous as well as annoyed, like this new hedgehog character with fast speed and such just pops out of nowhere, and like they end up challenging each other to a race. Tails being the voice of reason, saying like, Sonic, this is clearly a trap. And Sonic pretty much says, Tails, if I die, that'll be the last thing I'll be hearing from you is you whinging at me. and and then Cosmic and Sonic go off on their race, and it seems evenly matched up until the moment when Cosmic goes around their first loop-de-loop where he's all suddenly dizzy and ends up losing the race. Sonic saying like, don't worry buddy, we all knew who the winner was in the end. And then Cosmic turns into Metamorphia and then starts beating the crap out of him with all manner of morphing abilities, including turning into a net, which Sonic cleverly decides to burrow underground to get out.
Yeah, that's kind of clever.
And of course Morpheus says like, I'm going to turn into gas again, so that'll knock you out. And Sonic's like, do you think they'll get me next time? And then spins like in a tornado and then runs off back to Emerald Hill after Metamorphia spills the beans that more badniks are coming to attack the town. And Metamorphia, realizing like, I cannot let him escape, turns into a green version of Sonic with eyelashes and then goes chasing after him, where upon arriving at Emerald Hill Zone, the badniks decide to ignore the real Sonic and just shoot the green coloured one, which is like, because, you know, even they are colourblind.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
No matter what Sonic universe is, there's always going to be someone who's colorblind.
Would be a funny
And of course-
parody, like Sonic is just chilling in a cafe and all the robots trying to kill Sonic is constantly shooting civilians. That's Sonic. That's Sonic. Like completely different colors, don't even look like a hedgehog, but just whatever. But yeah,
But Sonic and friends mop the floor with the motor bugs, quote unquote. But of course, Metamorphia is nowhere to be seen, believing that she probably disintegrated in the blast or transformed herself to get away again. But only time will tell whether or not she will return.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. Gasp.
Are we sure she's a female or not? Because since he can transform, you never know for sure, I guess.
Well, she
Yeah,
usually takes on the
I believe,
form of a
I
female.
believe she is
but-
female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Cosmo,
Yeah. When she turned into Sonic, she had eyelashes. Boys don't have
Yeah.
eyelashes.
no, absolutely not.
Well, unless you count Little Cheese.
Now,
Yeah.
sarcasm, we do have eyelashes, but not in Cartoon Land. No.
Yeah. But yeah, just like me coming back to Sonic and then just like seeing this character, like with her like, you know, black eyes with the white stripe and all her like fangy teeth being like, I'll destroy you. And I'm like, what have I got myself into?
What did I miss? Oh,
Yeah,
he's
it kinda
wondering the guy
reminds me
from
of,
the cover didn't show up.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Pennywise, where it's like when you see all these jagged teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all float down here, Sonic.
But yeah, especially as a fence form, it looks kind of scary, almost like a squid or a spider with weird nerve.
Yeah, because in that panel where like he turns from a net into gas, it's like all these horrible little tendrils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love the shot where she's back from gas. There's all this smoke coming out of her head. That looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like her head's
Almost
on fire.
Yeah, almost like her brain's overheating of like what just happened.
Yeah.
And then when she turns back into the green Sonic, it's like he's biting his head. Her head.
Yeah. Like more like a Metroid, like nom 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 nom.
Yeah.
I can bite my own head.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, yeah. But yeah, it's a great comic to come back to. Yeah, like what the heck?
It's kind of funny how this, like, taking on that form of, like, oh, the green speedster, and then just a green Sonic. It's weird how this, like, predates Scourge in a way. Like, Scourge was already introduced in RG Sonic, but back then he was just called Evil Sonic, and he wouldn't get the name and the green paint job until, like, issue 160, which happened, like, much later.
Yeah, and also this predates Sonic OCs that you see loads on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to be fair, here's an excuse because he was literally turning into Sonic, so our original form is different. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how often you see the green Sonic show up. Guess it's a very popular color. I mean, there's of course Sonic Underground Manic.
Manic. Yeah.
Yeah, Manic.
And like I said, Sonic Boom's Fruit or something. So.
Yeah, that, I don't know, that asshole from that one episode where Sonic and his friends openly mocked skateboarding in the 90s, yeah. I really hated that episode.
Yeah, that was a middle finger to 90s Sonic. Oh, well, what do you expect from Sonic Boom, I guess. But enough Sonic Boom bashing, I suppose. Yeah, anything else you want to say about this comic? I have to say, some of the final images, the robots actually do kind of look like Motobox, just ones that have wings on them. So maybe they got maybe like a combination of the two or something. I don't know.
Yeah, flying motorbugs. Yeah,
That'd be interesting. Like Koopa Troopers and Mario, but not only with wing versions.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised they never did that with Sonic, because with how they love to overuse that nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess Eggman doesn't recycle robots in a different form. Well, except for his egg robot that keeps being recycled over and over again. But yeah, never mind. All right, we continue.
Yeah, continue with Luke's narration of Tails' adventures.
Let's see, but did I find something else interesting? Oh yeah, so this is the comic about the scary Slimer. If you were curious about it, he does not look like Slimer in the actual comic. Although he does have his face explode from his body, so...
Yeah, did any of you play Mutant League football?
Nope, sorry.
Nah. Even though
no,
the fact,
never heard of it, no.
I mean, there's even like a review of like the Mutant League hockey.
Oh wow! Yeah,
So I'm just
you
wondering,
had that
like,
game,
if
Luke?
No, but I mean, I know of it. I think I believe it's set in the Warhammer universe, but I'm not entirely sure. There was some kind of sports game set in the Warhammer universe, which is very similar, like orcs playing with football in a very violent way.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I love that idea, like a Warhammer spin-off sports game. That's a hilarious idea, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, what were you saying, Ewan? Because I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. But obviously it was like a very weird comic. Like, even though it was like the first story, but yeah, even then I was like, what the hell's going on here? So this is like, like American football with like all these goblins and skeletons with little to no rules whatsoever, so you can just literally bring a gun to the battlefield and just shoot people.
And his head explode with lava from their bodies.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
and
picked a
all,
very
it all centers around trying to get an exploding head.
Yes.
you picked a very interesting comic to get back to Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm just looking at through the pages of that that Mutant League soccer story, and then there's like, there's humans, there's like trolls, there's skeletons and monsters, creatures, and then in one panel there's just a bear. Yeah, scene interrupting bear.
Phalos would be proud. But yeah, the new Till story, the shocking conclusion. Luke, you want to do the honor?
Oh yeah. Hang on. Tails and the little cubs are cornered by the Goblin Queen, who's trying to get them in a little game of hide and seek, where she's doing different rules. They're trying to find Prince Catalyst's secret hideout, so they make a break for it and go through the hideout. And they find Prince Catalyst, who's waiting for them, but of course it's actually a trap, and he tries to get them with his sword. But then he gets his sword stuck in a door. So whilst he's trying to pry it out, Tails and the Cubs make a clean getaway, and they exit the castle, and they all fall off the bridge as the castle says "Ah!" and then they all fly off. Then the Queen goes after them, Tails and the Cubs hijack the spaceship, and they just fly off. And the goblins just get very annoyed of it. They say, I want them back, damn it! And said, not at the moment. And so they all go back to the village. The Cubs are reunited with their mother, and Tails just bogs off back to his own world while saying goodbye. And Sonic says, "Oh, where have you been? We've got stuff to do." And Tails just goes, "Wah, wah, wah."
Yeah, even the suitable sort of like, the circles behind it, almost like it's a Looney Tune thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
But yeah, yet again, the climax. Tails falls and he can fly, and everyone's I wish he forgot. Darn it! Tails saves the day by flying again. The only thing he
One of these days he'll forget.
Yeah.
Like he's in the Super Friends cartoon, where the heroes always forget their superpowers. Also, Luke, you said the villain was a trap. I think that's means something else.
I say the whole thing by the villain was a trap, but because he lured them out, but he was actually on her side the whole time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But the villain himself was not a trap.
Just saying. Bye. Poor Luke.
Well, apparently, basically just doing all of this just to spoil her fun. Apparently.
The bastard.
Yeah, weird. Because at first I thought he was gonna I'm tired of her bossing around. I want to kill her so I can be king. But no, he just wants to spoil her fun.
Yeah.
How childish. That is mad.
Yeah. I mean, for me though, it's like, this being like the first story I read, and obviously with no context, I was wondering well, what the hell's going on here? But because in a castle being chased by goblins and such, but why are they in the castle, sort of thing?
And why does still have that night out?
Yeah.
Is this a Tails spin-off game I don't know about?
Probably, but especially since it's the second sort of comic I got, and this is the second time I've seen Tails. In the last part of a story, wearing that armor, and is this really something in the game I'm not aware about?
Did I miss a special level?
Yes.
Yeah, now that you bring it up, there's obviously no official game with that. But with all the official, a lot of fan-made Sonic games, it's surprising no one's ever made a game based off of these adventures with Tails.
That's a good point. Yeah, I never saw Fleetway.
Or putting Sonic characters in a fantasy adventure, that would be great.
Yeah, like a fantasy RPG game or something.
Yeah.
Captain?
Yeah, I just want to say, as somebody who has an older sister, I completely understand Prince Catalyst.
I got ruined.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away her job, but, sometimes she's having too much fun.
Sometimes she just has to be miserable. Just like she makes me. Sibling love.
Yeah.
But this comic has no mercy for newcomers. Poor you.
Yeah.
Yet you kept coming back. You didn't swear off Sonic forever. It's like
I still kept sticking.
I also just love the panel where Tails exits the castle, and we see the towers, the castle, the forest in the background.
The scenery artwork is amazing. I hate how they draw Tails, but the scenery is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, Tails does look a bit out of place when looking at all the detail of the backgrounds, and especially the civilians that live in that world.
Yeah.
Much,
so much detail on all these other characters, but Tails just looks simple.
Yeah. Now I get it. This whole comic series was predating Sonic Front Forces.
I guess so, yeah.
With classic Sonic being so out of place.
Yeah. I mean, one thing though I kind of kept wondering, when I first got into the comic again, it's why were the kids there? What was the reasoning and such? But part of me kind of wondered, was it because they had hand feet or something like that? Because in some of the panels, it looks as though they've got actual sort of almost hands for feet in a way.
Right, yeah, you're right.
I mean, which kind of leaves me wondering, were they unique, or is all the foxes all having similar sort of styled feet as they do?
Maybe they're all mutated, but Tails gets the cool two tails, and they get the stupid feet.
Probably.
Or maybe artists just so terrible at drawing feet that's why Sega decided to give them all blobs as feet anyway.
Yeah. Probably.
Luke seems to have technical issues.
Yeah,
His PC crashed.
yeah. Sorry, my PC's crashed and restarted itself. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, he's back already.
No, that just kind of reminds me of that stupid. I don't know if it's still going around, but like, there's this stupid thing that's like, oh, it's a video file on Discord, and if you click on it, then you'll just hear this random voice say, "Your computer is about to crash," and then like Discord just freezes up for some reason. Anyone ever encountered that before?
Oh yeah. In fact, I'm part of a Discord server that has an entire channel filled with videos that'll crash Discord.
Ah, so you're the asshole that's doing it.
You must.
Yeah, Captain Theory might be off saving the day against Captain Obvious, but during his downtime, he's crashing Discord.
He's just proven theories about crashing Discord.
Exactly.
Yeah, some theories on what makes it crash, and he's testing them.
Gotta do some hard science.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gotta get some data. That's what it's all about. Anyway, yeah, anything else you want to say about the comics? Anything more you were confused about, Ewan? You thought they're family members of Tales or something?
Well, nah, just still being confused, though, especially when I'm just seeing part 4 Pirates STC, and like, that's just like, because literally it's just like so much stuff happening. It's like a mess. Like, what's going on? I don't understand this. Like, that's kind of like the problem. It's like so much bonkers stuff was happening. I mean, it's almost like watching Excel Saga for the first time again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, because like when I started getting into Archie Sonic, that was around that was issue 126, and that was the whole story where like Sonic was tossed into space for about a year, and it's like, wait, how did Sonic get into space? Or, who are these other characters? And what's going on? So it definitely took me a while to get the full picture and read through the issues in chronological order.
The joy of starting right in the middle of something. Yep. Anyway, yeah. Do we want to wait till Luke is back, or are we gonna finish this off?
Unless he's got something else to say.
We can just go back to the comic if he has anything else to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there was nothing else too interesting in the comic. It was kind of interesting how popular virtual racing is for Sega games. I was kind of confused why that game was so popular, because wasn't Daytona already out? Wasn't that more advanced?
Unless they were, I don't know, maybe it was something a bit more, well, down to earth sort of thing, or basically just because, or something like maybe because it was being getting a port to the Mega Drive.
Oh, that would be impressive, yeah. But they show like an arcade here, so. But yeah, so virtual racing is basically Sega's answer to Star Fox, I guess, at least in terms of graphic fidelity.
Yeah.
I found the game kind of dull. More Daytona guy myself. But yeah, it's super popular, so maybe I shouldn't say bad things about it before I get people angry at me. And I see that Sonic Speed Simulator had an update. Do you want to talk about that, Captain?
Yeah, so I haven't started playing today's update, but apparently they have added Camping Knuckles and Big the Angler Cat. So...
Oh yeah, that's like Big dressed up in fishing gear or something.
Which seems kind of redundant, but
Another Big? I just recently made a video about how Big was everywhere. I guess it's proven relevant again. Jeez.
That's one hell of a coincidence, yeah.
I think you're in my spot. Yeah,
Yeah, get out of the way, bitch.
Yeah, I haven't played today's update, but last week's update introduced an interesting Sonic CD/Sonic Generations event where you can save classic Tales by collecting shards of the Time Stones. And what's kind of interesting is after you collect all of them, the big Time Eater gate thing disappears. But like the Time Stones are still there, and for some reason you can stand on the Time Stones while they're floating in midair. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
They've also added. They've also strangely removed Hilltop Zone temporarily.
Huh?
But they, yeah.
But that was one
they removed. Yeah, Hilltop was one of my favorite zones, and now it's under construction.
Okay.
So
I mean,
big changes coming to that, I guess.
yeah, I guess they're updating the level, or they're saving it for another upcoming event.
Yeah, and but they did add a new obstacle course in Emerald Hill Zone, and it's actually very big and pretty confusing. So it actually took me almost 2 minutes to complete it,
Damn.
whereas other ones I can complete in less than 10 seconds.
2 minutes. That's twice as long as the Sonic Forces level. Jeez.
Hey,
Ha.
Ah, insults. Poor Sonic Forces.
Yeah, Sonic Forces is pretty much my own personal punching bag. You know, like everyone's got Sonic 06, and me, well, that's Sonic Forces.
I don't know about Sonic Forces. I mean, I have no real problems with it. I kind of enjoyed the game, but yeah, something about that game just immediately bitters me, makes me angry. Even though it's not that bad of a game, but it's just so much wasted potential. Like,
Yeah.
we're so
Maybe,
close
yeah, like
to an
what-
awesome game, and you just keep making the most boring decisions possible. Ah.
Yeah, like there's that, and the other thing that really pissed me off about the game was the whole deal of like their reason to try and explain why Classic Sonic's in the game. It's like, oh, it's a lazy retcon. Like, oh, he's not Sonic's past self. He's a character from a different dimension, totally different. Yeah, just like he always was. And then throughout the whole game, he does absolutely nothing to the plot, especially when his gameplay sucks. So that just really pisses me off to no end. Which, knowing me, I've definitely had a past of running into a lot of extreme Classic Sonic purists in the past.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh well. Not that we're angels either, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's lay off on the forces bashing until it's relevant. Yeah, Luke still has problems getting back.
Yeah.
So should we keep stalling time till you get back, or shall we just end it?
Yeah. Could just keep blabbering on for a bit.
Yeah.
Melting Man, you wanted to talk about Pac-Man World's repack or something?
Oh yeah, Pac-Man World Repack coming out in 6 days, which I'm super excited for. So they recently posted some videos showing off like, you know, the comparison, like, oh, here's the original compared to like the new remake version. So it's definitely interesting. Like they just recently posted snippets for like the last two worlds, showing off the factory levels and the final fortress and going up against Talkman. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for. I think I'm more excited for like the boss battles from like judging from the trailers, like. The levels themselves are like designed, you know, how they were like in the game with, you know, not much changes and whatnot. But the boss battles, they seem to have completely remade them from the ground up. So like the Chrome Keeper puts up more of a fight this time. There's a lot more action fighting with the King Galaxian. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. They also showed off like the intro cutscene, which kind of it plays like the same. It's a little different, you know. Oh, the ghosts have to, you know, capture Pac-Man's family, but of course, in this one, they explicitly state where they can't make up their mind on it, which of the Pac family is supposed to be Pac-Man. They think they all look the same, so they're like, okay, screw it, let's just kidnap them. Which, to be fair, in the original, that was kind of the same thing, although we didn't really see them.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's weird. I never played Pac-Man World, but I love Pac-Man World 2 for the GameCube, so maybe I'll give it a go. It's a bit of an overhead 3D platformer, right?
Yeah, Pac-Man World 1 is fun. It's pretty much how it started with Pac-Man's first taste into 3D. But yeah, it's nice, and it looks like the remake seems to fix up a few things. Like, in the original, there was like some swimming levels, and especially down the tubes. That was one of the factory levels where half of that level was just you swimming through corridors to get to certain areas, and Pac-Man swam so slow, which made it so tedious. But judging from the gameplay footage in the remake, he seems to swim a lot faster, so hopefully it won't be that much of a pain to get through those levels.
I hope so. Yeah, well, underwater levels used to be the worst levels always. Although some games like Ratchet and Clank kind of fixed that. Like you're usually giving the characters like jet boots or something. Then they're fun. Even Sonic Colors also did that with the drill wisp. That was a great idea to use that in the water. Wanted to view wisp usage in Colors actually. Like yeah. But yeah, so the captain wanted to show this. This is a big cat in fishing mode. With an epic Camper Knuckles.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, with him being on the island where it's just trees and more trees, it kind of makes sense that he would dress up as a camper.
It's so weird to think of epic when it is about like fishing. Kind of reminds me of the old parody jokes I made by Rex Hunter. Like, oh, the Adventures of Rex Hunter fishing adventures, and then just a guy in a boat just fishing.
Yeah.
I think that was based on an actual TV show that exists. Maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely remembered that. All the epic music you used for it whilst he was just fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fishing is
yeah,
literally
they
just waiting until you win. It's like, that's something I never understood. Well, I'm sure actual fishers will disagree and have a better sense.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of interesting because it seems like the past few costumes that have come out for Speed Simulator always seem to be based off of something from Sonic's past, whether it's like, you know, something that's kind of well known or something more obscure. But here it seems like these are more like brand new costumes. Like the only thing that's a reminiscent of the past is Big's belt, which is a reference to that upgrade that he gets in Sonic Adventure.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah.
and the grapes, that's a reference to the Sonic movie too, of course.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, no, that's just a reference to Knuckles.
Yeah, that's just a reference to Knuckles in general, because he does state that he likes grapes in his various character bios, yeah.
oh, does he? Oh, I never know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
like-
known that since Sonic 3.
Yeah, and Sonic Jam also mentioned it, yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. The movie writers did their homework.
Yeah. It says that he likes fruit, but grapes are his favorite.
All
Yeah.
right. Can't blame him. Grapes are nice, although I prefer white ones rather than the purple ones. But that's
Ah.
Really?
yeah. My parents used to have like a grape plant in the garden, and there were so many fruits all the time. I had to eat them at school all the time, but I were the purple ones, so I got so sick of them. I don't like them until this day. Now I just want the white grapes.
So here's a fun little true story about me. I love grapes. One time I was over at a friend's house, and just out of niceness, he offered me a bag of grapes, to snack on. And I love grapes, so I was just eating them. Next thing I know, they're all gone. His parents weren't mad, but they were quite shocked.
That's the last
Becoming
time I
quite
got
the
a
grape
snack in
hound,
that house.
yeah.
That was the last time we ever got a snack in that house. Hey, at least it's a healthy
Pretty much,
snack.
yeah. For how unhealthy my diet usually is, I do love fruit a lot,
I love
and,
it.
and quite a few vegetables.
All right.
Yeah, like the main fruit I usually eat are apples, but I also like grapes. I sometimes eat them now and then. I just gotta remember to eat them more often, because otherwise they'll just shrivel up and not be edible.
Yeah, that's the problem with fruits. You have to eat them very quickly. Yeah, you can save them up. So definitely not in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I see there's a question in the comments there. Rhino Benka, how about thoughts on the IDW characters right now?
Thoughts?
Yeah, thoughts on IDW characters that have been at least shown up right now, which is kind of interesting because we haven't gotten, most of us haven't gotten that far in IDW Sonic yet.
Well, they're definitely very unique for Sonic. They're very different, much more intense. But I love it because they really work with Robotnik taking over the world. They all have that dark atmosphere too. Well, except for the Marshall Brothers, I guess. But fair enough. They want to make fun of the Mario Brothers, I suppose. This is part of it's always place for a little lightheartedness. But yeah, the Metamorphia from this chapter or the Pirate Captain, they really. I mean, it doesn't really fit with the Sonic universe, but it fits with how dark Robotnik is. But
Can you hear me?
Look, you're back.
Hey,
Lucas,
I'm so sorry about that. My laptop just straight up crashed. And so I had to switch back to my main computer.
he couldn't cope with the epicness of the shit.
Fisher Knuckles, yeah.
Yeah.
so anyways,
So Roger, I think Rhino was actually asking about IDW Sonic characters and not Fleetway Sonic
Oh,
characters.
sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, gee, I'm really asking. So far, I like them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the most interesting characters because they're the only ones allowed to have any dynamic going on because all the characters are kind of stuck in stasis because you can't have any character development. But yeah, I love Whisper and Tangle. I like Dr. Starline. They do very original things with them.
Surge and Tenrek are also, or not Surge and Tenrek, Surge and Kitsunami are also great, but we haven't covered them on this show yet, so
I haven't
Yeah,
read past
like-
Somebot yet. I keep it as a surprise till we get to it.
Yeah, because like right now, me and the captain are like the only ones that are a little more up to date with IDW Sonic.
Well, I know who
Yeah.
Surge is, so it's not like I'm completely blind. But I'm trying to avoid
Yeah, same
specific
with me.
information. Yeah.
yeah. So let's not talk about them yet.
Yeah.
All I'll say is I hope they become canon characters. They're pretty great.
Especially since Tangle and Whisper are really like designed and written as if they're playable characters, because like Ein Flynn wrote out all these moves that Tangle could do, so it's really begging for it to be a playable character.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Well,
they are in the mobile phone game, but
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
in the
and-
mobile
they
game,
can't really
so-
pull off their cool stunts there. All they can do is just run and jump a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be cool. But then again, hey, some fan games like Sonic Robo Blast 2, they actually are playable. So there you go.
There's another question. Well, he says this is more of a joke question, but Rhino again. What is it? What is the most ridiculous thing you ever learned about the Sonic franchise?
I'll let you answer that first. I need to take a drink first, so go ahead and answer.
Okay. Oh, jeez. What's the most ridiculous thing I've learned about Sonic franchise? Geez, there's so many weird things. I guess the one thing that I can think of at the top of my head is the fact that Sonic can stand on exploding clouds in Sonic Pocket Adventure. In one of the boss battles, yeah. Although that was mostly learned from Some Call Me Johnny's review of that game.
He does specify that, like, as in comic unique characters, what is the most ridiculous thing we've learned?
Oh, the comic exclusive characters, yeah. Well, most ridiculous thing I've learned, well, in terms of IDW Sonic, is the fact that Tangle's tail, despite the fact that it can stretch out very long, apparently has a limit. Because, you know, there's that one issue where, like, oh, we gotta stop the Zombots, so they tie around streetlights, and then Tangle's like, okay, that's enough, you're gonna pull my butt out. So apparently there is a limit to how stretchy that tail is.
I think for me the most ridiculous thing I've learned about Sonic, made in the comics, is that his true full name is Maurice Oglivili the Hedgehog or something.
Okay.
That
Ogilvy Maurice.
No. No, that is entirely false. Ogilive is never
Good.
established anywhere in Archie
Good.
Sonic.
Because that's the weirdest name I would ever hear for him. No, it's
Yeah.
always Sonic.
Yeah, for some reason there's this big fucking misconception that people are like, oh, his name's Ogilive in Archie Sonic, and apparently this stems from like this old blog post that Ken Pender said that one of the scrapped ideas for Archie Sonic was that, oh, his real name was going to be Ogilive, and apparently a lot of people took that and just took that as canon, quote unquote, and just ran with it, and this big misconception because it is mentioned that Sonic's middle name is Maurice, that it was kind of this one-off gag in the original miniseries, and then they made it canon in one of the specials. But as for Ogilvy, no, it's never mentioned anywhere in Archie Sonic. It's never established. It is mentioned that Sonic did have a different birth name, but it's left as a mystery.
Part of the problem is definitely Ego Raptor perpetuating this myth by claiming it as his favorite bit of Sonic trivia, and he'll claim it's true even in game canon. And
Yeah.
of course, his co-host on Game Grumps, Dan, who is a wonderful person, never questions it because he completely trusts Aaron, which is probably not a great idea.
No.
And that is one of the many reasons why I have a personal grudge against the Game Grumps, or at least more specifically Ego Raptor.
It's probably not very
Yeah.
helpful to go against it because he doesn't care anyway. He just wants to watch
Yeah.
forever, and he doesn't care if he's right or wrong. But yeah,
But it is pronounced Ogilvy, by the way.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I think he also made a really weird statement that he thinks that P is stored in the legs or something. Like, what?
What?
what? Peter,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. That's yet again him like misunderstanding something that was explained to him. Basically, because there is water weight in your shins, obviously that means your body gets urine from your shins, which is dumb.
Yeah. Clearly, Ego Raptor dripped out of lobotomy or whatever that class is that teaches organs.
Anatomy?
Anatomy. That's
No, I don't think he dropped it out of lobotomy. I think he definitely had one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, if I have to pick the weirdest thing from the comics, probably the entirety of the manga Spin and Dash.
Oh yeah,
That's
Sonic
it.
Dash Spin. Yeah.
But yeah, my
That's
rule with
me.
weirdness or strange things in Sonic is I don't care as long as it's cool, and everything so far has been cool in IDW and in Fleetway and Archie, so I don't care. Throw in pirates, throw in orcs, throw in zombies. I'm willing to roll with anything. So, as long as it's cool and fun things happen.
As for me, the weirdest thing I've learned about a comic character, there's so many examples, but the one that's fresh in my mind, Melting Man. Remember what we were talking about last
Oh,
night?
my favorite Sonic.
I know where this is going.
So, anyone remember the robot dog Sonic had in the pilot episode of Sonic Zadam? Yeah, apparently he becomes an anthro in the Archie reboot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's yeah, so there's this whole I did this whole Archie Sonic character files thing with Mutsky covering his history on both the old and new continuity of Archie Sonic. So I'll try and keep it short. So basically, in old continuity, it plays the same. It has a dog, and then it gets roboticized, and then aliens come down and de-roboticize all the Robians, which are the roboticized Mobians. So now Mutsky's a dog again, yay! And that's how it is. So in the new continuity, they reintroduced him as Ben the Mutsky, where he's this young anthropomorphic kid character being an assistant to Uncle Chuck. So we see him a few times, like he's assisting him in researching the Dark Gaia energy during the big Sonic Unleashed adaptation. But yeah, not much to say about the Ben Mutsky. He's just a very minor character, gets a few cameos here and there. But I kind of like his the design. It just looks adorable to me.
Yeah, he's
Cute
the
puppy
physical pediment of that old argument from Pluto and Goofy, which I hate because clearly Pluto's different kind of dog than Goofy. I see him as different branches of evolution. But
Yeah.
here you literally have a dog from being an actual dog to like a different style dog. So you
Yeah,
literally
well, there
have
actually
Pluto
is,
turning into Goofy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, in Archie Sonic, there actually is an explanation on why both type of animals exist, and it's it's a whole big lore thing where it just basically boils down to, aliens come down, they decide to dissect the leader, and that pisses them off, so they drop the bombs to try and kill them all, but apparently it doesn't work, so that mutates the animals into more anthropomorphic, and I guess some of them didn't get affected.
Yeah, there you go. So it's perfectly fine having excuse. Like, I don't mind two types of animals existing. We have the same character switches from one to another. That is a bit of a more difficult pill to swallow. Yeah.
I suppose technically, if we're thinking about it, that means that the animals that didn't change are the mutants because they were somehow immune to the bomb.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a weird
Yeah, poor. Yeah, I assume the captain saw the video that I linked of if you want the
I
full script,
did.
okay.
I did, and it only raised more questions for me.
Yeah, like the whole deal with Sonic being implanted with some kind of alien translator device during his whole Tossed in Space arc, and he somehow can understand Mutsky, even though it's only brought up once or twice, and that's it.
Yeah. Because I remember that. It's like hearing Mutsky talk, but yet I don't remember it ever happening again with any other animal after that. It was just in that one time. It's like a plot convenience, but then it's just like meh.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's it's really pointless in a way, because Mutsky can talk, he speaks third person, and so you think Sonic would use that as an advantage for Mutsky to go on more adventures or understand non-anthro animals. But no, the whole thing is just thrown into the garbage.
Ah, that's a shame. Oh well. Guess they were fighting with the writers or something again.
Yeah,
So much
Mutsky's kind of a...
potential.
In the video I pretty much stated how it always felt like the writers had issues with how they should write Mutsky, because they always write out these ideas, but none of them stick. They were always one and done deals. The only one they tried to be a little more consistent was in the new continuity, which of course was very short lived. But oh well, at least they tried.
That's the impression I always get from Sonic Archie, that a lot of writers have a rope pulling contest with each other. One author, I want this character dead, I want the story to go in this direction. And then the other author steps in, is no, the character's back and we're going in this direction. You have multiple chauffeurs fighting over the steering wheel of the same car. So
Yeah, I think that's how it was, like, in a lot of the early years, with Ken Penders, Carl Boilers, Mike Gallagher, because, yes, there are other writers outside of Ken Penders, which is another misconception people have. It's like, oh, it's Ken Penders and Ian Flynn, nothing else. It's like, no, there are other writers. There was that, that, and even Dan Slotts, a guy who's well known for doing a lot of Spider-Man comics, even worked on Archie Sonic.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, that's cool.
But yeah, that's when we finally get to that.
But yeah, I just know that Dan Slotts did most of his writing on Archie Sonic was more of that weird moment in the comics where it's like, oh, it's Sonic and Sonic, oh, they go into alternate dimensions, oh, there's Sally Moon, oh, there's Sally McAcorn based off some drama crime series that no one remembers. But yeah, he was more into like the alternate dimension stuff, which I guess that makes sense because. Like, wasn't he the one that created the whole Spider-Verse concept or ideas or something?
Maybe that's his way of trying to avoid having to know too much of the continuity. It's like, okay, I just make it take place in an alternate dimension. I don't have to worry about continuity and all that. I wouldn't be surprised that's the reason why Sonic Prime does the same thing. Or why every Sonic game takes place in a completely new location. No need to do research what we established before. Just throw everyone in a new situation. Get start from blank. Oh, wow.
Yeah, always fighting with writers. I think when Ian Flynn became more of the main writer, then I think the series became a little more consistent with certain ideas. Like, oh, a character dies? Yeah, he stays dead, because that's Flynn prefers to keep like characters dead if they get killed off and whatnot. Is not fond of.
Yeah, Flynn always comes across as
the idea,
that's why
like,
I keep
oh, they're
calling him
suddenly
Janitor
back, that
Flynn.
kind of thing.
He's like really the one who cleans everything up. Yeah, which is not meant to be an insult, but just the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then of course
I
some
don't
of the
understand
other
why
writers.
janitor is an insult anyway. It sounds like a very difficult job to me anyway. You have a lot of skill sets. You need to fix things.
Yeah, like I have
Why is janitor such an insulting job anyway? I couldn't be a janitor.
Yeah, but I guess like janitor is just kind of like lower. I'm trying to say out of this, like the less interesting job, like people are like, oh, I want to be an astronaut, oh, I want to be a doctor, do something cool. Then janitor's like, oh, just cleaning up shit, that's it. But I can imagine janitor job would be very challenging. It just depends on what.
Also, a lot of variety. You have to do a lot of different jobs, so it's more of the more interesting jobs. It's worse when you constantly do the same thing all day. Well, yeah, that's a bit of a side rant, I guess. But,
yeah, that's pretty much why I'm not really a fan of like cashier work. I did that for a while before moving out, and yeah, being stuck in a box while dealing with customers and whatnot. Yeah, not my thing. I prefer a little more freedom,
Man, we're so adult this episode, talking about mortgages and weathers and our job experience. We're supposed to talk about kiddie stuff like Sonic cartoon.
And dogs becoming anthropomorphic.
Exactly. Real important things to talk about. But yeah, I think we're about done. We spent a lot of time talking again. And I need to go to bed and look. So, any last statements from anyone?
Most I could think of is tune in for the upcoming days for the big Sonic Dissected 10th anniversary thing, because I made an image for that, so it's completed. So we'll probably show that off next time or something.
Almost 10 years anniversary of Sonic Dissected. Time flies, even though I haven't really made proper Dissected in a long time. Yeah, next stream is probably just going to be about fan games and such. So when Sonic X and Fleetway getting a break again, we're just not.
Yeah, oh, well. Sage
2022. Yeah.
Great time to have our 10th anniversary.
Yeah, it's a great way to celebrate with our fan stuff.
Yeah, not sure if I'd contribute much because it's mostly because I have no idea how these fan games work. It's like, how do you download them? How do you work these mumbo jumbo?
And the problem is, Sage starts right the day before a stream, so we'll only have 24 hours to play the games before the stream starts. So that doesn't give us much preparation time. Oh well, I guess everyone should just pick two or three games you find interesting and kind of ignore the rest. We shouldn't.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll try. Yeah.
Everyone pick Scream 64.
No, that's my thing.
Hey, we'll save that for Melting Man.
Fair enough. All right, I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.